Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight. You can follow me first on Twitter. Dwight doesn't want me to say that anymore, so not a big deal. Anyways, go find the show on SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, JD Sports Show. Look for our mugs.
It's real simple.
This week, Dwight.
P.S. By the way, the reason why Dwight doesn't want him to say it anymore, because Dwight's probably just going to delete the Twitter. Y'all don't use this shit anyway. We don't use this shit anyway, so.
Until we're big enough, there's really no reason to have this unverified Twitter account.
That's factual. Just like a lot of unverified things, but you know, some things can live. The Twitter, it's whatever. R.I.P.
We have 2 NCAA tournaments to talk about. Masters are coming up. I have a quick bit on the Philadelphia Phillies. Not a long one.
They suck. The end.
Very short-lived football news because in the coming weeks is when we'll do a little more football. And then the main event. Dwight's wearing a Taker shirt for all the people who are listening on SoundCloud. It is Mania time. It is Taker time of year.
Is it? Well, we won't talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
It's a good time of year.
It is.
It's fighting year.
I'm a very big fan of the sports calendar and how it rolls, and I think you can always find interesting times throughout the year. And this is you have the tournament throughout most of March, and then boom, you hit April, and you get if you watch soccer, a lot of big soccer things are going on across the world. You have WrestleMania obviously going on, the Masters. Baseball is kicking into gear, and then obviously we're coming down the home stretch of the MLB and of the NHL and the NBA. So those things kind of get, and for the football fiends out there, because we know they're existing, the draft. I'm just sports overall. So
he's a football fan.
Speaking of the tournament, the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Eagles, my shirt. Champions. On the back has all the players. It's pretty cool. It's the last of my shirts that I bought. I'm sure I'll eventually buy some more shirts. Are not the only champions.
In like 5 years, it's going to be a situation where people saying Eagles fans stop living in the past because like y'all are just.
Well, I'm not going to wear this shirt.
But y'all will definitely be that next stop living in the past.
We won in 2000. No,
that's going to be a thing. I promise. I promise you, it's going to be a thing.
If you didn't win last year, as I always say, it doesn't matter. And as of right now, the Eagles won last year, so I can live in my glory. Not the only champions in Philadelphia. Villanova, who Dwight said I only picked because they were from Philly, which was not true.
Facts.
Dwight, they beat every team in this tournament by double digits. That's how good they were. They were the best team in the NCAA by far. They basically Golden State Warriors their way to the tournament and then did it through the tournament. But they shoot more threes than everybody else, and they make more threes usually than everybody else, except for one game, Texas Tech. They went, I think, 5 of 24 from beyond the arc, but they still won by double digits in the tournament against them. So they can do it up high and down low, but teams like UNC, who like to play with 2 big men, they get burned by a team like Villanova. And Michigan, who is a top 5 defense, likes to play with 2 big men, got absolutely destroyed by Villanova on the grandest stage. Now, DiVincenzo, sorry.
I'm going to say, make sure you say the name right, because did you see the comment that was on our YouTube page last week?
No.
I don't even know who the hell the player was or what this person was talking about, but apparently, I'm assuming it was one of the Rams players. He said we absolutely butchered whoever this person's name was, and I was just like, alright, whatever.
Well, on the Dan Le Batard
that's
show,
what you got out of that, and doing that an hour and whatever.
Well, thank you for watching, whoever that was. On the Dan Le Batard show, we would get fined for that.
You ain't paying attention.
We would get fined for that, so that's fine. I mean, I would take it.
Make sure you say the man's name. Now we don't want to be called out, you know.
I don't care if I get called out.
We don't want to do an hour and a half show and have people talk about.
Look, there's a lot of information that goes on here, and even the best of the best. The Dan Le Batard show is the biggest show on radio, apparently, according to the amount of listeners, and they mess people's names up all the time. That happens, especially when you're talking about the amount of people that we're talking about. So I do apologize to those athletes if I do mess up their names in advance. I'm going to do it.
Dwight doesn't apologize. That's ridiculous and redundant.
I'm going to mess up people's names. I'm going to confuse people with other people. That is going to happen. I mean, we are talking about over probably thousands of players per every 5 years, you would say, right? I mean, at least 1,000 players' name has to come out of people who watch sports like you and I do name. The amount of wrestlers that you can name, the amount of football players that we can name together, the amount of baseball players I can name alone, we could probably get into a good, well over 1,000 players. So, and athletes, all kinds. So that's not, I'm going to mess up, so I apologize to those people.
Dwight doesn't apologize. Dwight actually let that person live. I didn't even bother to respond. I just shrugged it off. I thought it was stupid.
Well, DiVincenzo, or however you pronounce his name, because I'm sure I butchered it.
Pronounce it. Sound it out.
And I'm going to butcher the next name as well.
Sound it out. Sound it out. Don't do it. We don't need these keyboard warriors talking about spelling check.
But he is the 6th man off the bench for Villanova. Scored 31 points, the most points ever off the bench in a championship game. Their best player, Jalen Brunson, he won the National Player of the Year. I think he only scored 9 points. He had a very bad first half, and he sat not all of the second half, but they were up big for most of it, and DiVincenzo was obviously super on fire playing the same position, so they left him in, didn't put in the National Player of the Year, and the 6th man off the bench, who they consider their 6th starter, is what they've considered him all year. And legitimately, I have watched maybe 5. I've watched maybe 5 Villanova games all year before the tournament, and in the tournament, I saw it more than I did before, but he did play a good amount of minutes. Every game, like he had a very impactful thing. I am friends with a lot of people who watch Philadelphia basketball in general, and a lot of them think that he was going to be the superstar next year. So for him to do this in the national championship game was not a surprise to those people who were telling me this. And they watch a lot more Villanova basketball than I do, so it makes sense that they, I mean, I'm sure that, look, 31 points was probably surprising to anybody, but my point is it wasn't as shocking to them to hear that he was the one who did it, because to them, he was already sort of a starter in their eyes, He was getting a lot of minutes anyways, as I said. So, but congratulations to him. That is an impressive story, and he's a junior. They're talking about he might try to test his waters, because now you can, go to the draft and then decide against it right before the draft, as long as you don't actually enter for it, but you can put the feelers out there type thing. For his basketball,
of course you should. Why not?
For his basketball career, I think obviously it never hurts to play another year at college. Plus, you already know you can dominate at that level, so you might as well put all the tape you can together. But I'm never going to tell somebody, if somebody's going to pay you X amount of money to come out and play for them, and they're going to draft you in round 1 or 2, and you think you can make millions of dollars in the NBA, go get your money, boo-boo. Like, I can't be the one to tell you not to do that. So, we will see about him in his future. Jalen Brunson, though, the National Player of the Year, he will be most likely a lottery pick, and I think, that's the kind of guy that, Villanova, he's a senior, but there's only 2 seniors on Villanova, so they're the only 2 guaranteed gone, maybe DiVincenzo. But you're looking at maybe 3 players gone. Villanova might have another run here in the next 2 or 3 years, which it's hard to do back-to-back, but they did it every other year. And if they do it again, 2 years from now, they have a really good freshman point guard, too. And he played most of the second half because it was a blowout, But so when you win national titles, obviously, it brings around. And shout out to Jay Wright and Villanova, because, we talk about Duke, and Duke's had some of the best classes over the last 5 or 6 years. UNC has had some great runs over the last 5 or 6 years. Kansas obviously has had the most NBA players over the last 5 or 6 years. But on top of it, the most wins and the most national championships in the last 5 years, Villanova. So low-key, super impressive. Obviously not low-key anymore. I mean, they're now known as one of the top, 10 teams in college basketball. Now, they've always gotten a 1 or 2 seed, and then they would lose in the 2nd or 3rd round. They wouldn't ever go far. So it was understandable that people called them soft, and myself not really, rooting for them. I was always like on that side of it until they hit the Final Four.
Not really rooting for them.
I root for them in the Final Four, as I've always told you. Big 5 basketball, good for them. But
this guy roots for anything Philadelphia. I'll say it again. Anything that makes it far, Philadelphia. You don't care.
St. Joe's. I won't root for St. Joe's. But I'll root for LaSalle, Penn, and...
If St. Joe's, Jews.
St. Joe's was in the Final Four, and I was rooting very hard against them that year. I could not stand, who was it, Jalen... Yeah, you named him last week. Delonte West, and who was the other one? He played for the Magic forever.
I named Jameer Nelson.
Jameer Nelson, that's what I meant.
He played for...
St. Joe's. Him and...
Played for...
They played for St. Joe's. I would put all the money I have on.
I thought he played for... Who's the other Philadelphia team?
There's Temple, LaSalle,
I thought he played for
Penn.
Temple.
No, I'm a Temple fan. He did not play for Temple. He played for St. Joe's. Temple was the only team to beat them going into that tournament. I cannot... That's our biggest rival as a Temple fan. They're the only team though out of Philadelphia that I won't root for. So you're right. If the other schools got into the Final Four, of course I'll root for Penn, LaSalle, or Villanova.
So the whole argument
and
last week was not in void because Dwight was right.
But that's not why I picked them. I picked them because I legitimately thought Villanova was the best team in the tournament, and I thought they were the best team in the NCAA all season because they do play this different style of they shoot more threes than everybody else.
That's cute. You pick them because it's Philadelphia.
No.
Whether it's a sidebar or not, you still went with that because it was a Philadelphia team.
It's only the second time in my life.
Even if it's only the second reason why, it's still a top 3 reason why. It will always be.
But if I didn't think they were the best team in the tournament, I wouldn't have picked them to win it.
Yeah,
No, I wouldn't have. I would pick the best team.
Maybe not from the beginning, sure.
But I picked Nova from the beginning is what I'm trying to explain.
Commendable. This is what you've been waiting for. Congratulations.
I only got 2 of the Final Four right there. I got Kansas and Nova right. The other side of my bracket was super trash.
I'm good with any more Philadelphia teams winning anything for the next 25 years, personally.
The Flyers probably have the best chance if you're talking about in the immediate future.
I'm good with anything Philadelphia at this point. I'm Philly out. I'm still I'm tired. I'm tired.
I'm hoping this is just the start.
Enough. Well, it's not, but
partying on Broad.
Okay, realistically, outside of the Villanova situation, which will potentially be in a conversation, let's say.
Because it's college basketball, you're always going to pull in top guys, right?
In the next 5 years.
Right, yeah, for sure. And Jay Wright's a good coach and recruiter.
I don't know what the hell the answer is, but what's the next realistic situation? I don't know what the answer is, which isn't an answer, but whatever.
I mean, I guess you would have to say the Eagles coming off of the Super Bowl.
No Super Bowl hangover. Y'all just gonna fucking miraculously be.
Well, that would dominant. But you're in the next 2 years. I think the Eagles have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl in the next 2 years than the Sixers do winning the championship in the next 2 years. Yes, and I think that's your really two best options. Now, hockey, you throw your hat in the ring once you're in the postseason. It is as much of a gamble if you're the 1 seed or if you're the 8 seed in hockey. You know what I'm saying? It isn't as much of a gamble, but. In the Flyers window will close shortly because their 3 best players, Drew, Voracek, and Simmons, are getting up there in age. They do have 2 really good young goalies, but I mean they're young and they haven't played any postseason games. So
Flyers are now. Let's just say Flyers are now.
I think that they aren't on the same. Am I hoping? Sure, but I think that the Sixers and Eagles have the better chances of winning championships in the next 2 years than the Flyers would. Even though I think the Flyers do have a shot, but an outside shot. The Phillies have 0 opportunity. We'll get into the Phillies a little
later.
Phillies
have 0. Flyers have, I guess, 0 according to you.
Once you get into the playoffs, you have a chance. They have a 30% chance, we would say.
That's a 0. 76ers 0. So that goes to the Eagles, which
you're saying
the Eagles will be. Listen, the Eagles will be the logical situation, but I just think it's humorous and cute that you Eagles fan you would say that just because, And you're not the only one. A lot of people were saying, well, the Eagles are prime, they're young, and they got all this talent. And
I look at it as the Seahawks of a couple years ago, that's the best. And they didn't win another Super Bowl. So there's a potential chance of there, of course. We're talking the NFL, the way this doesn't
you're right.
Doesn't just grow on trees.
We're talking 49ers are going to be forever, the Seahawks are going to be forever.
Who would have thought that the
Raiders
Cowboys...
are going to be, the Raiders had 1 year, the Raiders are going to be forever. Right. So we will wait and see on the Eagles.
Who would have thought that the next time the Cowboys went whatever they did, it wouldn't have been with Tony Romo, it would have went with Dak Prescott. And that was only a 2-year flip. Do you know what I'm saying? So the NFL in general moves so constantly fast that things are always going, yes. I mean, the Eagles can be the future Seahawks, or they could hopefully make this into another Super Bowl or 2. But it doesn't seem like the Broncos, the Panthers. I mean, what's the last team that has won 2 Super Bowls in 3 years outside of the Patriots? The Steelers, maybe? In 2000, in the mid 2000s, right? Didn't they win 2 out of 3, or it was 2 in 4 years, or something like that? But if that's what we're talking about as the closest thing to do it, then I have the realistic understanding of how hard this is. I do know that next year there's no guarantees. The NFL, there's 0 guarantee in anything in sports.
Well, fine, you can say that you understand that. I just wish everybody else was starting to understand that.
But of course, sitting where I am, I can definitely see through the scope of the opportunity is there, and hopefully they can continue to strike while the iron is hot. And that's all you can ask for.
Well, you gave the correct answer. I would say.
Because the Sixers, I do think the potential will be there, but you have to wait for Golden State to not be as good as they are for it to have the conversation. And
no, LeBron, you don't even have to bring up that name.
Depending on where
you already brought up
the team that will win the championship every year, though. Yes, for the foreseeable future, as long as they can keep these 4 players around, I would assume would be Golden State.
Yeah, I'm saying you don't even need to bring going further with LeBron.
But that's a hard enough fight for the Sixers before you get to that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, even if, like, okay, congratulations, you do say they are the team that dethrones LeBron eventually, your reward is to just get slayed by the actual bigger, 4 LeBrons, I guess, right? Not really, but...
No, because they're better.
All 4 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Even Clay?
Yeah.
Damn. I don't know if Clay can rebound like LeBron. I think that would be the difference. I'd give LeBron the edge over Clay.
So what? You know what you do to get rebounds? You hire a big man. You hire a 7-foot bastard to get some rebounds.
I was joking. I think LeBron's better than all 4.
Christ.
The women's tournament...
Please change the subject because I'm just going to go on a LeBron tangent.
Something that I think you will actually like, even though...
No, I won't.
I have a way that I think you will.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of how I think it will be? Or what you think it will be?
No.
I have a way to incorporate your favorite athlete of all time in this next segment.
Do you know what my favorite athlete of all time is? You like to say you know who it is.
Kobe Bryant. It's Emmitt Smith? Deion Sanders?
Go ahead.
Who's your favorite athlete? Shaq?
I don't really have a favorite of all time.
All right, well, one of your favorite players of all time.
Kobe's into the conversation.
All right.
I never picked one. I never did.
I have a way of adding Kobe into this next conversation. So the women's tournament, and it was a feel-good story outside of it being Notre Dame, who I absolutely love, but I'm not going to sit here and fraud like I watch a bunch of Notre Dame women's basketball. Was I rooting for them? Of course. Am I excited that they won the national championship? Absolutely, go Irish forever, but I didn't sit. I'm not a women's college basketball enthusiast of any kind. But
nobody is.
I did watch the last couple minutes of these games. I didn't sit and watch any full minutes of these things, but I knew they were in it, and I did make sure to follow at least what happened. Anyway, so at minimum, I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm not going to try the first, but...
Sound it up. I don't need people on my mentions, on my YouTube mentions.
Mbumwum Ogwe. And the first name is harder, bro.
I'm going to let every possible joke I have go. Okay, go ahead.
She wears number...
It's best. You just keep going.
She wears number 24 because her favorite player is Kobe Bryant. She averaged... the highest points...
I appreciate you, girl.
She averaged the highest points in Notre Dame history this year per game. In the tournament, she averaged over 30 points a game. Against the undefeated women's UConn team in overtime, she took a three-pointer to win the game on the buzzer with 0.1 second left. And when in the post-game interview, she said, "I just channeled my inner Mamba." I knew you were gonna do that. I knew you were gonna do that. She said she channeled her inner Mamba, and so Kobe tweeted at her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is life complete." And he said he tweeted back, "Your life isn't complete until you win the next one."
She's Kobe Bryant, good for him.
The next game, she gets the inbound pass, a literal buzzer beater 3-pointer to win the national championship.
She put a Kobe. That's what
Kobe obviously tweeted at her right away, and I mean she's definitely going to meet him at some point. You would assume she's a huge Kobe Bryant fan. I'm, again, as a Notre Dame fan, it's awesome, but, like, even just as a human, the support that she is as one person getting across all of social media from athletes for hitting these two incredible shots and to take down UConn, who is, as we know, the giant slayer, to do it in overtime. UConn has 2 losses in the last 4 years, and they were both in the Final Four on buzzer beaters. That's rough. But she...
I mean,
back-to-back buzzer beaters, one in the Final Four, one in the national championship.
Good for her. Shout out to her. That's what's up. And hey, it's definitely no small task taking out UConn. That's an incredible feat. So it's shocking, especially that is Notre Dame. I mean,
they've always been top 10 women's basketball, but no way, shape, or form were they winning championships.
Regardless.
This is the first national championship I think they've won in a little while. They were in it a couple times. I don't think they've won in a little while. They lost.
Nobody
to UConn.
has won in a little while because fucking UConn's.
UConn's won it, I think, like 8 of the last 10 years, or something.
19 of the last 25.
It feels like it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, basically our lives.
Yeah, no, I mean, since the early 2000s, you're right, they've been running. I mean,
that's a big deal.
I'm pretty sure 2 years ago, out of the 10 McDonald's All-Americans, 7 of them were going to UConn. You know what I mean? And that was...
where else do you go?
And none of them were going to start as freshmen, most likely. You know, maybe 1 or 2 of them, but you're talking out of 7, 5 of them are most likely sitting on... Like, it's crazy.
And next year, UConn will win it.
Absolutely, so. And they will be undefeated going into the tournament as they were this year.
Wait, so, okay, do you know how many seniors were on that team?
UConn?
Yeah.
I do not. I don't...
Say, how much does that suck?
Oh, man.
To be
back-to-back years.
Be one of those losing teams.
Back-to-back years. They lost in the Final Four on a buzzer beater. So can you imagine being a junior last year and a senior this year?
Well, that means they got 3 chips, so, I mean... You know,
yeah, right, they won chips before this. Yeah, you're right.
Like,
but
maybe it don't matter.
It matters.
It does. I'm just saying.
Because you know what the girls before you were saying? That didn't happen to us. We got it our junior and senior year.
What's going to happen next year? We got it.
We got it, most likely.
Right.
But so shout out to them. Shout out to Notre Dame's women basketball. Muffet McGraw, she's from Pennsylvania. She's actually from the coal region where my parents are from. She's from a little town about 10 minutes from that. So
good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
Name. Good for
absolutely.
What's her name with Kobe?
Yeah.
Good for her. Good for all of them.
And so.
Shocking.
That was part of a feel-good story. I thought that was great. And it also has to do with the tournament. I think Bill Walton averaging a triple-double in the tournament in the 70s will always go down as the best performance of all time. But honestly...
It's never going to happen again.
Right. And, yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. It was incredible.
Ever. It's not going to happen
He's the greatest college basketball player of all time. But outside of that... If you want to talk about individual performances, I mean, in the Final Four, back-to-back buzzer beaters, one to take down UConn, the other one to win the national championship. She's right up there with almost any story you want to bring. You know, maybe the shot a couple years ago, Nova to beat UNC because Nova hit a big shot, UNC hits a bigger shot, and then Nova hits an even bigger shot, like all within 30 seconds. That's going to be up there as well. But you talk about tournament moments. I mean, even though you could throw her name in there with all of them. So that was good for her. Congratulations to them. Quick bit.
Definitely.
On the Phillies.
They suck. The end.
To the point where
that was this conversation.
To the point where it's actually super embarrassing. And I have to address it as a Phillies fan really fast. 1 and 2 going into the game today. They're playing right now. They had 2 rainouts.
1 and 2.
1 snow out actually, and they were off another day. So yeah, they're 1 and 2. They should be
show so much for. Which I just gotta be the guy that's gotta poke you with a stick, and not just you. I'm talking all Philadelphia people that, especially the ones that like to be in my mentions in person and out of person. Oh my God, the 76ers though, and the Flyers. Oh my God, yo, they've been on a roll and all this momentum since the Eagles won. Yeah, and then the Phillies lost game 1, and then they got blown out.
Game 3.
Right.
And I
guess they didn't give a shit about the Eagles winning.
Have I not?
So maybe I should be a Phillies fan.
Have I not?
I should be a Phillies fan. They clearly do not give a shit that Eagles
Have I not been trashing them every chance I get on social media though? At least I'm consistent here. I mean, I'll still talk about it.
I don't know. A week ago, before when it was like opening day.
I was super excited. Yeah, I'm always going to be excited for the start of any season. Even when the Sixers were only going to win 12 games a year, I was still excited for the first day of basketball.
Yeah, you're right. But you're only realistic when the reality really hits. You're a typical Eagles fan going into the hype of the situation.
I didn't think the Phillies were going to make the playoffs or anything.
I didn't say all that, but you still just like, oh yeah, but it's opening day. We're still like we might suck, but
Get excited today.
What are you super excited for? For suckery?
The only way you can win 90 games in a season is by winning 1 at a time. So win today. See what happens tomorrow.
So they're on pace for what at 1 and 3?
I don't even know, man.
I don't even know.
Not
there's
good
like
at all.
796 games
really
that they
bad.
have to play for the rest of the year.
What I really want to talk about with them is Gabe Kapler, the manager, opening day.
We're talking about the manager on opening day. Okay.
Well,
we fired him. We fired him.
Look, and Dwight.
We fired him.
Dwight, this isn't an reaction from me. This is the MLB. All of the MLB, as of right now, is actually watching the Phillies game. They are mad at Gabe Kapler, the Phillies manager, for something he did in the third game, but the Phillies fans were mad at something he did in the first game. So the first game, he pulled Aaron Nola while the Phillies were up 5-0 after 64 pitches only through 6 innings, right? And now, here's the reason he did it was because of analytics, and this doesn't make any sense to me because all he did was give up a double. So he could have maybe gotten out of the inning, who knows. The Phillies lost 8-5 that day.
To Atlanta, correct?
Yes, who was a really bad baseball team. Which legitimately really bad baseball team.
I know. But shout out to a friend of mine. I know she doesn't watch, but shout out to her. She's a big Atlanta Braves fan. She goes to ever since I've known her, which has been 5, 6, 7 years. She goes to every single Atlanta Braves opening. Like, she's huge Atlanta. She sees multiple Atlanta games. She always goes to Atlanta.
That's cool.
Right.
She was probably at that game.
And she was.
It probably made her very happy because the Braves hate us and we hate the Braves.
I thought it was hilarious because she was like, "Where are all my Phillies fans at?" And I was like, "Yeah, heard that." Because that's in typical Philadelphia fashion. Which again, I understand. It's a new season. You want to be excited, but this is just a theme with y'all, especially with the Phillies fans. Every single year, we're hyped for opening week, and then now we're fucking 4 games in when we're talking about what the manager did opening day, and it's just like you can't be on social media, which I've seen. You can't be on social media saying, "Yeah, let's go, we're in there, yeah, we're great," and then lose and say, "You know what? It's only one game." You can't say that and then go to the manager and say, "But he did this on opening day, so we feel some type of way." You can't have it both ways. Either it's only one game and relax, or we're having a panic attack on one game.
Oh, I mean, it's only one game. I'm not saying fire him after one game. I'm saying the fans were mad at the move he made.
It's one game, so what you mad about? Not you specifically, but what are these people mad about?
He lost. It was his fault they lost the game.
It's one game. You can't have it. But this is my point. You can't have it both
You play
ways.
to win the game no matter what, though.
It's one game.
You're still upset you lost the game, yes?
It's game one of whatever, however many years. If the Lakers lose opening night, I'm not losing my mind. It's like, okay, there's 81 more of these.
No one lost their mind and started like yelling at him, but it was.
Well, we're talking about. Oh my goodness.
It was a very dumb move, and let me put it to you this way.
It's April.
Okay, last year.
It was March when this happened.
Last year, let me put it to you this way. Last year in August, I went to a Phillies game. The Phillies were 16, 17 games out of contention. Odubel Herrera made a base running mistake that a third grader wouldn't make, and I absolutely was like livid over it. And the Phillies had no way of making the playoffs. So I just want to win every game. I don't know. That's why. That's why it's frustrating to watch.
At least at that point, you kind of have, you kind of got. Well, at that point, you more than have.
Yeah, I paid money to go see the game, and
well,
I see what you're saying.
How do you see what I'm saying? Why didn't I say anything?
I thought you were going to say
as a baseball player, you more so have. I don't even know what word I'm looking for.
Control?
Like, yeah, because you've had a whole season to get to that point. This is literally game one. This isn't the end of the season where you should be not making those type of dumb decisions. You would expect more so a dumb decision to take place early in the season, correct?
In the major leagues, it doesn't matter game 1 or game 67. You shouldn't be making mistakes that little leaguers make. Yes.
Woof. Sure, but I guess it's going
this
to happen.
This isn't a football, basketball, or hockey thing where chemistry has something to do with it. He got taken out due to analytics. Yes, it's absolutely going to happen. But the thing is like he's getting paid for that not to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like the manager's getting paid for that not to happen, and it happened on day 1 of the job. And
so he overslept. He wasn't used to being up that early because it's the first game of the year.
But But day 3 he makes another really egregious mistake that put a player's arm at risk of being injured. Day 3. You're supposed to warm up, right? And that's the thing. If it's gone this bad early, obviously yes, you only hope it goes up, of course.
Man.
But I was gonna say
I can't mess with baseball fans then.
What I was actually upset about wasn't the day 1 thing. I thought that day 1 was absolutely ridiculous, but to your point, I was like, all right, well, here we go. Let's go day 2, see what happens. Right. Baseball's back tomorrow. They won the next day, and I was like, almost lost because of another bad move he made, but they didn't.
They won. Okay.
Whew, got rid of that one. Day 3, though.
Got blown out. Okay. Yeah.
Day 3, they got blown out. But here's what he did that makes me, as a fan, very upset with him. He pulled a guy from the bullpen without having him warm up, and the dangers of that is they can really throw their arm out by doing that. That means he only got 5 warm up pitches, and for these pitchers they have to pitch 20 to 30 warm up pitchers at minimum to even. So I haven't heard a report that the guy got hurt or anything, so good, but That's not
So
something...
why did he say why he did it? I mean, it is stupid. But,
he didn't give an explanation. All he said is it falls on him. And what's super frustrating about this is not...
Okay.
He pulled the other two pitchers too early the 2 nights before. So in this game, he didn't pull the guy early enough. And when he did pull the guy, he didn't have another guy ready. So he put another guy he put another guy's career at risk by throwing him. That's a very dangerous situation.
I don't disagree. So he's doing all this extra shit. Why is he doing all this extra shit so early?
Nobody knows, and that is the problem that people are angry.
It's something to tilt your head about, but I don't.
Well, the MLB has.
I don't know if it's something
the
to
MLB has
be
called
freaking out about.
The MLB has called the Phillies organization and said if he ever does that again, they will absolutely start taking matters in their own hands. The pitcher,
as they should.
The umpire actually gave him more than 5 pitches. He gave him, I think, 7 or 8 pitches to warm up because the umpire was like the umpire said he was not going to put the player's injury at risk. And
how long has this manager been around?
This is his 3rd game ever. He was in the
Dodgers. That's your own mistake for hiring this unexperienced man.
Agreed. I had no clue what he was about. So like I said before, I wasn't excited or sad about the move. I was just interested on how it was going. I don't like how everything... Like the Yankees, they hired Aaron Boone because Aaron Boone is more of an analytics guy, right? So all of baseball, 110%, because data is so big in it, obviously has now gone to analytics. The way the Houston Astros and Cubs are set up is fully because of analytics. Their managers are 110% by how the numbers tell them to go. And they're more of a... It's degrading to call them babysitters, but they're more of locker room managers than they are decision makers. You know what I mean? Like, if the statistic tells them to pull the guy, then they're pulling the guy. It's not... And that's what the GM wants them to do. They're more like, if something's happening in the locker room, I got to get morale up. I got to stop this. You know what I'm saying? I got to handle the media. And I think that sounds like what the Phillies pulled him in for. So I was like, copycat league in every league. That's how it goes. Expect it. Don't know anything about this Gabe Kapler other than he was solid. He was a solid baseball player. He was in the Dodgers front office for a couple years. The Dodgers have been very good for 10 years. So, all right, we'll see what happens. 3 games in, I'm already like you said, tilt your head.
That's ridiculous.
I was like, tilt your head. Now, am I saying fire the guy? Absolutely not. And I made the joke because the Marlins absolutely screwed Marlins man over, who was the most popular human to wear a Marlins jersey, right? Can you name one Marlin?
The only reason why I know who he is because you bring him up to me, so that's a Marlins man.
Oh, he's in the front row of all the big things. He sits...
Correct, I know. That's the only reason I know who he is because you bring it up to me. Otherwise, no, I have no clue who that is, how they screw him over.
He came to them and said since they traded, which legitimately they had the best outfield in baseball. So last year they could have just built off of the best outfield in baseball and tried to become a tender in the next 2 or 3 years. Instead, they traded all 3 of those guys. And so he came to them and said, since you guys don't have any superstars, I want 15% off of, I will pay for season tickets for the next 4 years, but I want 15% off and I want it locked in.
Good for... Shut up.
And they said no.
As they should.
Dude, they're averaging less than 1,000 people a game.
So
if anyone's going to,
You're not a celebrity, you ain't nobody.
If anyone's going to buy season tickets from them, they should actually be gracious at this point. They have the lowest attendance in the history of baseball.
That's cute. That's fine.
They have a $2 billion stadium that no one goes to.
That's cute.
More Cubs fans were there on opening day than Marlins fans.
Who cares? Who are you? Because, he's a season ticket. Good for you. Who are you? Other than that, which, yeah, good for you. We appreciate you. Who are you to demand a discount? No, fuck you. No. No.
Well, the Tigers have already offered...
I don't disagree. It's kind of like, yeah, you probably should, but at the same time, no. As an organization, no. I'd probably say fuck you, too.
Tigers have already offered a $20% discount.
Don't go to the damn games. Jack doesn't go to the Lakers game. We're like, damn, Jack's not there. Well, he ain't getting no discount. If Jack ain't getting a discount for the Lakers, quote unquote, the guy who doesn't even have a name, Marlins man, he doesn't even have a name. Marlins man doesn't deserve no discount.
These last 3 years, if Jack would have came to them and asked for a discount, I think he would have had a very good... reason.
At least it's Jack Nicholson, and you would say, yeah, it's Jack.
It's legitimate that they would give him a discount, right?
You would say it's Jack.
But I'm saying, okay, well, in the MLB, like, MLB fans know who Marlins man is. Anyways, the Tigers have offered him a 20% discount. I think.
Go sit down, Marlins, man. Of course he did.
San Diego offered him some kind of discount as well.
Go
like,
sit
a lot of
down.
funny things.
Sit down.
So I jokingly said, until Gabe Kapler proves he's a competent manager or the Phillies decide that they don't want to, follow this if he never turns it around, the Marlins man's going to bid for my fandom too. But I'm going to ride out with the Phillies. We'll see. I'm like you said, it's only 3 games in, so you got to hope, right? Like, it can't get worse. I mean, it can, I guess, but hey.
God, I hope so.
And that was a rough first 3 games. Hopefully it's not as bad in the future. We will see. Lesson learned, he's going to be learning on the job. This is the first time he's ever been in the dugout as a manager. The first time these games have counted for him. We will see how it goes. Speaking of one more thing that you don't care about, the Masters coming up this week. I'm taking the field, not Tiger. I'm rooting for Tiger, though. That's about my Masters coverage.
He went out there on a limb.
I'm excited for the
Jared
Masters.
Hood.
Never. I'm excited for the Masters. I love golf, so that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. And I'm rooting for Tiger. I really am. I'd like to see him pull this off.
I was going to make a comment, but I really don't feel like having this drag out any further.
Dwight loves to talk football in April, so we're going to.
At this rate, compared to baseball and golf and tennis and lacrosse and swimming and whatever else you can put out of his head, yeah. I mean.
The LA Rams
officially have their trophy. Shouts to y'all for being a placeholder for a year. Shout to y'all.
Finally, right?
Shout to y'all.
58 years running, man. We didn't get a championship. We finally got that trophy.
Mazel. Placeholder for
I'll
the
take it
Rams.
for 12 years. I've never had it in my life. Or 12 months.
months.
I'll take it for 12 months. I've never had it in my life, so
Good.
I'll take it for 12 months.
Good. That's exactly what you are. Placeholder. Good. Good for y'all. Can't take that L away from you or W away from you. But that's exactly what y'all are, placeholder.
I mean, you could try to skip over it as much as you want, but they still the champs.
Typical freaking Philadelphia.
I would hope you bathe in your glory
typical Philadelphia.
if the Cowboys ever win in our lifetime.
Time out. Typical Philadelphia, typical Eagles fan that wasn't listening or paying attention to anything that I just said. I said, congratulations. Nobody can ever take that W away from you, but you are a placeholder. Correct. What did I say wrong? Just like the LeBron thing that you were...
You said L.
And then I corrected myself and said W.
I know, I got a question for you, though.
Just like the LeBron thing that you freaked out about, which was factual. What did I say that was wrong?
Everybody get on our inbox and get mad at him for misspeaking. I got a question for you.
It's not going to happen.
Do you think the Patriots made a good move by getting rid of Brandon Cooks?
No.
I agree. He's a young, talented player.
They've already lost how much? And there's rumor that they're getting rid of
Gronk
Gronk, which I don't
situation.
believe.
I don't believe. I think that's a Kawhi
That's bullshit.
Spurs situation, but not near as bad as Kawhi and
Right.
Spurs situation. We can even get into that because I would like to.
That's fine. I think the Gronk thing is BS, but
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Right, but when I saw them getting rid of Cooks, I was like, y'all just handing things away now.
I'm
like
questioning.
on top of everything that you already lost, now you're really just blowing this up. Is Brady next?
The year that Brandon Cooks just had was off the charts. He was insanely good. He got absolutely destroyed in that Super Bowl. Remember that play that he absolutely got his head blown off? Because you run north and south, not east and west. He was running east and west and got absolutely destroyed. My thought is there some kind of residual thing that they're afraid of? I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I haven't heard any reports like he got a concussion. It was just...
What did they get? They got, what, 2 picks? 3 picks?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I forget. I think it was 2 picks.
Nothing worthwhile. And I was just like, awesome. You know what I think it is, honestly? I don't even think it's a situation where they're feeling like, oh, maybe...
And I don't either. I just think that's a possibility because I can't figure this out. What do you think it is?
I think they're just... I think they're in a situation, it's either one or two things. I think it's more so the one or the other. Either they're blowing this thing up, which I don't necessarily think, because then Brady would be next. I don't think that's the case. I more so think it's the other one. I think they're just arrogant. I think they're at a point. They've lost so much, and now they're just getting rid of talent on top of that. They're just letting time go for nothing. They're so arrogant. Brady and or Bill Belichick and or Robert Kraft are just so built into, well, we've done this before. We've done this with Les. They're so built up in themselves that they think they can continue to do that however many years Brady thinks he has left.
Because they have guys like Hogan undrafted who played lacrosse and not even football.
And because they still have Bill Belichick, they still have Brady. They think they can just.
But they lost.
But this past year proved that he needs some help. They need some talent back there, and now you've lost. I've lost count of how many people they've lost.
Every playoff game.
A lot of people.
Every playoff game they played in the last 4 years that they've won, Danny Amendola has caught a touchdown pass. In the ones that they've won by less than 7 points, he has caught the touchdown pass that has put them up in those games in the fourth quarter to win. He is not going to be there next year, to your point. Cooks will not be there next year. Julian Edelman, is that where you're going with your number one? He's a slot receiver.
He gets hurt again?
He's a slot receiver. What if Gronk gets hurt again?
Again, they don't have a running game. They seldomly do.
They say they don't need one.
Seldom.
They got rid of Deion Lewis.
Oh my goodness. Like I said, I think it.
I mean, they're going to be playing with me and you next year at this rate.
And I think it's a case of arrogance. They would convince themselves that they can win with me, you, and Brady back there at this point. What else is it? Because you know they're not giving up. You know they're not thinking, okay, well, we had our run, it's over. You know that's not what they're thinking.
And you can't, not if you
because
have Tom
Brady. If they were, they'd get rid of him.
As long as he is breathing and wants to put a football helmet on and the Patriots are willing to accept him, then they are going to believe that they can win. And I think you're right, the arrogance part of it, no matter who they line up with. He is the best I've ever seen, so it's hard to argue.
Yeah,
but look at Aaron Rodgers.
This might be the first time ever. You might just have to throw the earbud.
So on to the Gronk thing.
Because there's nothing there.
I think we're both
Brady and Gronk. It's like
I think we're both sitting on the same platform on that one. That this is a little in the arrogance part. Maybe that's exactly what it is.
Every single year, we could always say, okay, there's Brady, there's Gronk, and you could always throw one or two other names out there.
Not as good as Cooks usually. Not always as good as Randy Moss.
A talent, a good talent, solid talent that you can say.
Troy Brown.
They got that. Who other than Amendola? Who can you name on that's remaining on that squad? Total. I'm talking offense, defense. He's going to think about it and come up with a name. But point being is that he has to think about it.
No, you're right. Okay, I have to think about it. I'm not disagreeing with you on that one.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
And you're right. If for me to have to think past two players on any football team is actually pretty. And when to be as good as they are.
When you see a team like the Eagles, when you see a team like the Rams, when you see these other teams
stacking up,
loading the hell up, just see the Patriots say, we can get rid of this. We'll take some trap. We got Brady, we got Bill Belichick. It's worked for so long.
System, not player.
You know, the Steelers aren't doing shit. Nobody else in this conference doing anything at all. Nobody else has talent in this whole conference. But we have Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. To me, that is the mindset that they have. And I think it's wrong at this point.
The arrogant...
Everybody else is getting so much better.
Part of it, I agree with. And along with the arrogance, with teams like the Patriots and a parallel, you can say in basketball, the Spurs, comes a little bit of... We dictate how our players go, not our players dictate how they go, right? And last year, for the first time ever in the Patriots system, we saw the TB12, the head of the TB12 guy, Alex Guerrero or whatever his name is. Sorry if I messed that one up, everybody. I don't know the trainer of Tom Brady. I might have just said a random name that's not correct.
You should research it out.
I apologize. I don't know Tom Brady's trainer that well by name.
Shouts to our producers. Both of them.
Point being. They had that friction, right? Remember all that friction about him being on the plane and on the sidelines and players going to him, not the team doctors and whatever. And for the first time, we saw that little armor and the players in the organization kind of have like a face-to-face, and it wasn't pretty. With the Spurs, Kawhi Leonard, we talked about the Spurs a couple weeks ago in that team meeting. Kawhi Leonard has booked to New York since then. He's doing his rehab in New York. He didn't just jump on the floor afterwards. I think that might...
I saw that and shrugged it off.
I think that's different, like that's way further down the road than the Gronk Patriots thing is, but the parallel I see here is Gronk right after the Super Bowl said, well, he didn't say it, I'm sorry, and this is the thing, the Patriots got mad because they said that he was talking about the retirement rumors publicly, and that's not fair because he looked blindsided when he was asked. right after the Super Bowl, they asked him about retirement. He said, "Well, where'd you hear that?" And then he said, "Well, I have to talk to my family about it." He didn't say yes, he didn't say no, and the Patriots said that I guess they would have rather him just say no right there to shut the rumors down. Point being is he was frustrated that they said they were frustrated with that, because to him, and this is why I think Kawhi Leonard is having his little thing with the Spurs, these players, they want to know that the organizations care about them and their body just as much. Like, I think Gronk looks at them and says, I'm going to come back next year, but, like, if I was to just retire, why are you going to be upset with me? Like, why are you guys going to look at me and say these kind of things? Like, why wouldn't I be able to sit down with my family and talk about it? Why wouldn't that be a reasonable response? My body and my head and my knee matter to my future, and I have made millions of dollars. He hasn't spent one game check in his career. His agent literally got him good deals from the time he was a rookie promotion, and that's the only money he spends. Every game check he's made with the Patriots is in a bank account. So he looks at this like he doesn't need this anymore, and he can go be an actor, you know? I mean, how many rumors of that? So the thought...
He can go to WWE because they want him badly.
So my thought process is... Right, and so my thought process is, like, we're living in a different world here where, you know, I mean, even... I'm not trying to say... it's just something I can remember. In 2002, Donovan McNabb broke an ankle and played the rest of the game on it. Had a great game. Players aren't going to do that nowadays. They're just not. They want to take care of their bodies differently. We're not seeing things like that happen. They want to take care of their bodies long term. What did Derrick Rose say? I want to be able to stand at my son's graduation. 18 years from that moment. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, we're dealing with a different version of the athlete than we ever were before. So Kawhi Leonard, I think, is looking at the Spurs saying, hey, I want you to care about my body as much as I'm caring about it. I know you were saying I can go on the floor, but can I go on the floor and be healthy for a long term, or you just want me on the floor for the rest of my contract? Now, these players signed on the dotted line knowing that long term, Dikembe Mutombo's knees were going to hurt for the rest of his life. Shaq's knees are going to hurt for the rest of his life. You sign on that dotted line getting $1 million for the return of, you understand that this could hurt you long term, some way, shape, or form physically. And it's 10 times worse in football than it is in any other sport, obviously. It's a rock and a hard place for organizations, I think, and to be soft. The Patriots aren't just going to turn around tomorrow and start saying, we're not going to get our guys out there the second our doctors say they're healthy. Do you know what I mean? Or just because you had recent concussions doesn't mean that we doesn't think you shouldn't run out there. You know what I mean? Like, things like that, where in Kawhi saying, oh, he didn't heal properly the first time, so just because you think that I can play now, can I actually play type thing. It's a weird dynamic I find that we find ourselves in, and I mean, even all the players not playing the back-to-backs in the NBA, things like that. They're trying to take care of their bodies differently now, and they're more conscious of this than ever before, but it definitely puts them and the organizations in a hard spot, because as I said, you have no choice. You are going to, if you play these professional sports, you are going to be physically injured long term. Nobody leaves football fully healthy ever. I can't remember any Hall of Fame basketball player walking up without limping some way or shape or form to the podium, right? Or some, you know, I'm sure they were hurting somewhere, right? Kobe played on a torn Achilles. You know, it's just a different mindset.
I think the Spurs thing is a non-issue, personally.
You think Kawhi will be back?
Yes. I think it's a non-issue.
I'm rooting for that to be the story.
I think him going to New York is a non-issue. I think this whole quote-unquote beef is a non-issue.
I don't know if it's...
I think the blasphemy that I heard on this ESPN, I think it was ESPN broadcast, whatever, within the past week, where they had a Spurs game on, and I heard this announcer, I'm pretty sure it was ESPN. Well, regardless, it was some commentator on one of these networks that said, I think the reason that the Spurs feel some type of way, I'm paraphrasing it, that the Spurs feel some type of way is because they're not sure if they can really commit to him long term and pay him the type of money that he wants paid. And I'm just sitting there thinking, are you fucking kidding me? I can't stand this new age of thinking where we got a talent, we got a top 5 talent, we got something that is incredible. This is something that we can build with. I can't stand this notion that we should not pay these players who are that talented.
Yeah, I agree. You have to pay
a lot of money. I can't stand this. Well,
you have to.
No, let's get rid of him. So he was just talking out of his ass. He said that he felt that this is what he thought the Spurs were thinking. And I was just like, what are you talking about? You can't be a top, let's say 5. You can't be a top 5 talent and not want to...
Marcus Aldridge is getting a max deal.
Right. So
that's a horrible point.
So that's cool. Which he's a great talent, but Lamar.
But Kawhi is more valuable in the 2018 NBA because everything's played on the wing, not down low. LaMarcus Aldridge has a place, but it's not what Kawhi Leonard has a place on. If you're going to pick one of the players, you pick Kawhi, yes?
Yeah. Point being, that's a whole nother thing that I can go off on. I just don't understand this notion of we got a talent, we got a great talent, we got an exceptional talent, and we don't want to pay him.
Okay.
Who the hell else do they have then?
So, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Nobody. So then what do? You pay him whatever the hell he wants.
That's the reason that I was excited.
It's the same reason I could have stand when people got on Kobe. It's the same reason I could have stand when they got on, I don't know, name somebody. I can't even name somebody. Get your money.
See,
and these are younger dudes, and these are dudes that are clearly going to be a face. Hey, Kawhi Leonard can go to any other organization
get a max
and
contract.
make a max deal
Agreed.
anywhere the hell he wants.
Agreed.
As soon as I saw that, I literally tweeted out, Magic, you know what you need to do then. Because if this guy is correct in thinking the Spurs do not want to pay this man moving forward because they don't think they can build around him,
right?
Then Magic, get on that phone, pay him that money, build around Kawhi Leonard.
So
tell me Lonzo Ball would not want to pass to him. Go right ahead.
So yeah, I agree.
Fucking stupid.
That's why before the season we had a conversation about Embiid and the Sixers paying him max, and that's why I was okay with it because you're gonna have to pay these guys at some point, and if Embiid ends up being really good,
pick him.
Then paying him the max contract is what you got to do to keep a player who is that kind of talent around. Kawhi Leonard, the way you keep Kawhi Leonard.
I thought it was kind of weird on the Sixers part just because he was young, but it seems like it's working out. But he was still a much younger dude.
He could literally. I mean, he hurt the eye thing, and it sounds like that's going to be a full recovery and everything. But he could hurt his leg again in no time and never play again.
My issue with the Embiid thing was that, and still, even though he looks like he's going to be a baller moving forward, was more so the age thing. And it was like, he only played
40-some games.
Right, so that was my argument. But at the same time,
I wasn't disagreeing with you either because it was an unknown. And as I said to you, the upside was if he ends up winning an MVP, then you have him at a discount because paying him the max at that age was better than paying him the max in 2 years.
And you do the same to a Kawhi Leonard. So to whoever that broadcaster was.
Agreed. I was just gonna say, like today the Embiid thing, as you said, today the Embiid thing looks good because, and that proves, and that's not an Embiid thing. That proves that max contracts can work out. Like you don't be scared to give players a max contract. The Sixers, the Sixers
you can't build
today,
around Kawhi Leonard, then I don't trust you as my GM.
The Sixers today are happy that they were able to pay Embiid the max contract that they had to offer him last year, not coming up in this year because it would have been more against the cap. Do you know what I mean? So like sometimes you gamble and sometimes it works.
You know what? No disrespect to you. No disrespect to Allen Iverson or like a Russell Westbrook. These aren't those type of situations. Kawhi isn't that type of player.
Agreed.
Where you can kind of have that side of an argument.
No.
Kawhi's a whole other thing.
It's not a risk. It's not a risk by signing Kawhi.
Right.
I don't just look. If Jimmy Butler is going to be guaranteed a max contract anywhere, then Kawhi Leonard needs to be guaranteed a max contract anywhere.
Right.
We agree on that. I meant in the sense
I just thought that comment was absolutely
the theory
atrocious.
Of being scared to give a max contract out is dumb, and the point being is we literally just talked about one of those that has, at least till now, looks like panned out. But yes, to your point, look, do you think the Heat were mad that they gave Shaq a max contract those 2 years they gave it to him?
No.
He pulled a championship in, and everyone said he was getting up there in age. Remember that?
All those great 2 years. Whatever it was, he had a great couple years.
But do you remember those talks about how that's why they didn't know if the Lakers had to pick between them, and they picked. Obviously, they made the right decision for the long term. But
he was a little older, so it made sense. We would have paid him a hell of a lot more money. So
point being is that they looked at it as we have to give one of them a max contract, but even the Lakers said they knew they were going to have to give him a max contract if they kept Shaq. But a lot of people were talking about not giving Shaq a max contract at that time, and the Heat are obviously more than happy that they did. You're not winning another championship with Parker and Ginobili. You're not. Maybe that's why Kawhi's waiting. Wants them to go.
Probably just said fuck it.
You know what I mean? You're not winning another championship with those two. You're not.
And he's debating if he wants to keep Aldridge or not.
You're not, right?
Aldridge, you should have went to the Lakers. You could have had Lonzo. You could have had all those young guys that are supposed to be so great. And then you could have brought fucking Kawhi.
Somebody would have came if Aldridge was there. I agree.
I'm just saying.
They would definitely need a wing
Long
player.
term, that would look a lot better for him.
They would definitely need a wing player for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not disagreeing. That's a good start. You didn't know you were getting Lonzo though.
No. On paper now today, that'd look.
Yes, agreed. I completely agree.
Young nuclear. That'd be nice. Then you got those 2 veterans out there. I like it. It's not happening.
Imagine the one player that the Sixers drafted, and because the Sixers missed on 2 players, but the one player they drafted, like at least they got something back from Michael Carter Williams. They didn't get anything back for Okafor, but I always say Porzingis was drafted right after Okafor. Like that's the one mistake they made drafting so far. They've been who knows about Fultz.
Ew, Porzingis and Embiid and Ben Simmons. Ew. Oh, damn, that would sucked.
Right, you know what I mean though? Like, I'm always so mad.
Been nice for y'all, but
I'm always so mad, and I didn't know much about Porzingis at the time, but I knew I wasn't happy that they drafted Okafor because I didn't want Okafor, but I was just like, man, like,
damn.
I didn't know anything about Porzingis at the time, or else I would, hopefully, that would have been so sick though if that would have happened and worked out. And Dario's playing really well too.
Would they have paid all 3 of those? Ben and Embiid, you pay Embiid.
Yeah, you can pay 3 max contracts.
All right.
I don't know what that does to the rest of your salary cap, but the Warriors figured out how to.
Warriors
figured out how to do it last year. You know what I mean? It's possible.
Porzingis stretches it out a bit too.
Right. So Porzingis, Embiid, and Simmons. Simmons he has to work on his jump shot, but like you're talking 2 guys that can stroke it from deep that are 7 foot, and another guy who seems to be a really good passer. Anyways,
that's a whole nother
different story.
That's a whole other world for the 76ers if that would happen.
Absolutely. And if Dario would still be playing the way he is, like if he would figure out a way to fit in there. Right, that's what I mean. Like that would actually be a really good. Him and Simmons when Embiid's out have been the best 2 players on the Sixers.
Especially in the East.
Yeah, right. You make him real noise. You might actually win it with that lineup.
That's top 3. If not 2.
You see Skip Bayless said he thinks that the Sixers are gonna win the Eastern Conference.
That's because he's banking on Embiid, the throwing around, which is what anybody that keeps defending the Philadelphia thing. That's all they keep saying. They expect Embiid to be too much.
He said he hates the city of Philly, but
he hates LeBron more.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I hate Philly more, so I would take LeBron.
I just thought it was funny. I was like, really, man?
I would say though that
a lot of that's everyone's pick right now that they think that the Sixers, not maybe this year, but
it's
in
an interesting. I don't think y'all just throwing them necessarily.
It's an interesting matchup, though. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, because I don't think Cleveland has anything for Embiid. They have nothing for Embiid. Nothing. Zero.
I think that agreed, and he is definition of a unicorn like Porzingis. You know what I mean? But
and he's bigger.
Right.
And he's a little more of a traditional center. Just a little more.
I don't know.
Porzingis is a center, but you know what I mean. He's a more.
I don't know if LeBron...
Typical big.
I don't know if LeBron can, like, flip into some other switch. Like, he's already playing at a really high level. Do you know what I mean?
He's not checking Embiid. Stop it.
No, I'm not saying he checks Embiid. I'm saying, like, in the playoffs, though, you know how he always just, like, tries to flip into another high level? I don't know if you can get another level than he's already playing at this point. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, if he can't get any better...
It matters at that point.
But if he's able to flip one level higher, yeah, I think the Sixers have no shot. But if he's playing the way he is...
Who checks Embiid is my question.
I agree.
Let's say LeBron decided I'm gonna check Simmons. Cool, Mazel.
Who
checks Embiid?
He will. No, we don't disagree. Kevin Love, no. Tristan Thompson,
no.
That's a joke.
Richard Jefferson, no.
Embiid's
got a good 2 inches on everybody on that roster.
I know you don't like the Sixers, but do you at least find Embiid funny, like that he's like looking right at players, like saying they can't guard him, and like I know, but like
I think he is funny.
That's hilarious. Like he's literally telling players straight up, "You're not going to be able to cover me."
He's a modern version of Shaq.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's a modern version of Shaq.
All right, I like that. Yeah, and he loves Shaq.
He's Shaq with social media.
He idolizes Shaq.
He's Shaq with social media.
He idolizes Shaq. That's one of his favorite players of all time.
I think he's funny. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's good for the league overall, yeah. Outside of the fact that he's on the 76ers, which I naturally have to hate, I think he's good for the league. Outside of him, who else is charismatic? Nobody.
Oh, I agree.
Nobody is
in
charismatic.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Nobody.
I would agree.
I can't even name a second person.
Russ, sort of, but not on the same level. Not on the same level, but it's a different version.
He's definitely number 2. Right.
But yeah, he's number 2. I agree. I mean, that's about it, though. There's nobody else that's out here like that.
A lot of boring... Embiid's the Shaq of this generation, which is a good thing in my opinion.
Hopefully
both
Dwight...
dominance. Well, he's not quite that type of dominant, but he can be a dominant force.
Hopefully Dwight keeps most of that conversation because that was pretty good.
I am.
Back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
That was just us two BS, and this is what we do in our regular time. We actually took a break from the show, and in the middle of the break, we actually just started BSing about Kawhi, and it led to a really good sports talk, which that's how this show started. Good sports conversation between Dwight and I.
Conversations there.
Where we agree on things, for once. Look at that. Him and I can actually get along, right? No, we agree on a lot of things. That's what makes the show good. Before we get to me,
disagreeing is what makes the show good.
All right, you're right, because
we can't agree on everything.
The things that we agree on are like things that we look at everybody else like they're dumb, but then the things we disagree on are the things we look at each other like we're dumb. So I think you're right. That's what makes it work.
And hey, I mean, like, hey.
No, we don't actually think each other's dumb. We are absolutely.
No. But I was gonna say,
we respect each other's opinion.
I hate everything and anything and everything Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I make no qualms about it. But
talking Embiid, yes, in that conversation.
I'm not going to deny the fact that one, Embiid's a monster. Two,
yeah,
I'll stand by that fact. I don't think anybody in the league, the entire league, let alone the Cavaliers, can check
him right now. Yeah,
nobody can.
We agree.
He's too damn tall. He's too damn lengthy. I might throw, if I had to pick somebody, anybody, maybe, okay, number 1 or 2. And Durant, just because of their length.
Okay,
maybe.
Maybe,
but Embiid still has the height. He still has the power.
You know who I think would be fun to watch him up against in a 7-game series? Now, obviously, one's in the West and one's in the East, and I don't see the Pelicans or the Sixers anytime meeting up in the finals, but I would love to see Anthony Davis on Embiid for a 7-game series. Like, I think that's a really good offense and defense on both sides of both players. Different skill sets that they would have to learn how to guard differently, you know? But I'm with you.
Yeah, Anthony Davis will definitely be in that situation.
Few and far between are there players that have an opportunity that I agree with you that can check and beat. And I'm with you. I don't know if there's a player that can fully do it because his offensive skill set is of that level at the moment. And
it's nobody. The answer is nobody. The correct answer is nobody.
Agreed. In the 40-some games that he only played in last year, that's what my excitement came from. I know he only played X amount of minutes, and you had every right, not just you, everybody saying, hey, you know, pump the brakes, slow your roll, had every logical reason to say that. But the fun part of it for me was like, man, if he can do this on making a lot of games and a lot of minutes level and continue at the dominant level he was at, which he has only progressed forward, it's great to see. And like you said, he became almost unguardable, at least at this point.
If the 76ers allow him to be that monster and they not check his minutes.
And they, since...
faltered, like by game 3. Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about...
Was it pressure? What was it?
I don't know why they did kind of falter. Why they flipped that script. I don't know why they flipped that script. What I do think...
did they get backlash from like ticket holders, people that were buying tickets, fans? Like, what was it? Kids? Did they realize, you know what? Maybe we can actually be, I don't know, the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference if we let this man play.
I think that they had...
They're still ridiculous with it, but they're not nearly as bad.
I think they had
a year ago, they were just...
Right.
Obnoxious.
I think they had a timeline schedule
obnoxiously stupid about it.
Of when they were going to let him... I think, you know what, because it's at like 64 games or whatever it was is when they took the minute restriction off. And it's still like some sort of minute restriction. They don't want to play, 42 minutes a game. But...
stupid. Anyway.
Point being is
you don't want to win basketball games ever. You never want to be a winner.
What I think they wanted to do was get him to 60-some games or whatever that number was and get his body into shape. Because at the same time, we are still talking about a guy who is 21 years old. And James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, I mean, these guys are mature guys who have been working out differently than Embiid for 10-plus years. I mean, look... their bodies are just more physically advanced than his. Well, that's just physical science.
Well, no, duh. So,
they just didn't want him to get run over.
Well, no. Austin Rivers has been in the league for how many years?
And he's still getting run over. And he's clowned all the time. How much confidence does he have compared to Embiid? Embiid has the highest confidence in the NBA right now.
My point is that, yeah, of course some guys naturally, quote-unquote, could run him over. But the majority will not because he's a big-ass man. And my defense of... saying just play Embiid would be Kobe just played. Durant just played. Or not Durant. Garnett, excuse me, just played. Who the hell else was drafted out of high school? LeBron. Like, just play these dudes. Get the experience under the belt. I don't need to see these guys. I don't need to see a 19, 20-year-old sitting on the bench because he's not big enough. He's not ready. Get the experience. Like Ingram. Even though Ingram's like 20 pounds, right? At least he's getting that experience. He is. And he needs that. So, you know what you add on to the experience? Some weight, and then he's there within, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Then he's at that point. You don't need to be 2 or 3 years from now where he gained the weight, but he doesn't have the experience. The experience is important, which is why I didn't understand why y'all were sitting Embiid.
So I always look at it this way. And,
especially in the NBA.
2 things. One, the reason that you like Embiid is because he has the same mentality as you. You know Embiid wants there to be 0-minute restriction, and he wants to play all 82 games.
As he should. And he's charismatic as hell.
He has that mentality about himself. So, and that's part of the reason why you like him.
And he's a center-ish. I'm with it.
So the second part that I want to bring up with this is, and I've always gone back and forth on this, and I think it's situation is where it really matters and is effective. And I'm with you. In this situation with Embiid, I wouldn't have minded them letting him go all out. I was totally okay. I would have been okay if they would have just no minute restriction, let him do whatever, play as many minutes. But they did what they did. Like I said, the flip side of it is it's always the argument of Aaron Rodgers sat for how long and it worked out. Now, I'm not saying that that's hey, now everybody's going to go on and be that. In no way, shape, or form.
So much.
Do you know what I'm saying? In no way, shape, or form am I saying that this is the case. What I am saying is
so much.
People do find value in that. Look,
who? Because the Aaron Rodgers thing is a freaking anomaly. It happened to one, and then you can't name number 2 or 3.
Phillip Rivers, he was behind Drew Brees
number
for
2
3 years.
But he sucks according to you. So okay, who else? You can't. This is my point. You can't name more than 1, 2. Whatever. You can't name. It doesn't work out for more people than it does.
Because the guys with the talent of Aaron Rodgers, Joel Embiid, and people that we were talking about, yes, I'm with you, from day one are able to stand on that court. And even if LeBron James ran him over, the thing that makes Embiid different is he would have just stood up and tried again. But I think they were afraid of that he wouldn't just sit up and try again. I'm not saying that's the right tactic. I am not saying playing scared. Playing scared is never how I think you should do it.
No, put your ass out there. Go.
Playing scared is not how to ever handle situations, I think, when it's talking sports. It's just it rarely does it work out, like you said. And they didn't
figure it out.
They didn't play scared with the Aaron Rodgers thing. They actually gambled and let go of Brett Favre and were scrutinized for it. So they were just found themselves in a really good situation.
You always, in these conversations, you always bring up the Aaron Rodgers thing. You know what the counter-argument to that is? Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. The Peyton Manning is Troy Aikman.
Oh, look.
You know, they were told, go figure it out, young fella.
Andrew Luck.
And they failed, but then guess what? But they got the experience, and then, it worked out for them.
The Russell Wilsons that led their team as a rookie to the playoffs as a third-round quarterback.
And you know what? Go back to freaking basketball. Kobe, he sucked as well. Ish.
He just didn't play a whole lot.
Right. Correct. Even like Garnett, like their rookie years weren't as great as they became, obviously.
Absolutely.
And Kobe was coming off the bench his rookie year.
Right.
But he was still getting that experience and that exposure. There wasn't necessarily.
Absolutely.
I guess you could call it a minute restriction if you come off the bench, but
it wasn't because of an injury or they didn't want him to get run over. It was a minute restriction because they were trying to win games and he wasn't developmentally talent.
He wasn't worthy of being on.
His talent wasn't developed to the NBA level of that moment. So in their own
way, at 19, Eddie Jones was better than him.
In their own way, I guess you're right. It's a minute restriction, but they didn't sit him for an entire year and then play him for only 62 games and say he can't play over 18 minutes. If Kobe was hot, he would have played 25 minutes that game, 30 minutes that game, whatever. It was a night-to-night thing. It wasn't we know no matter what, when he gets to 21 minutes, we're taking him out. You know what I mean? And I understand what you're saying there.
And he wasn't better than Eddie Jones at that point. Shout out to Eddie Jones, by the way. He doesn't get enough love.
We're speaking of Aaron Rodgers. I know I said I only had one football thing, and I was thinking of something earlier in the show. I wanted to bring it up, and I didn't last show. Because the week we took a break, it happened. You and I both like Jordy Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm about to say something that might shock you, and I expect you to disagree with, but maybe not. The Oakland Raiders released Crabtree to sign Jordy Nelson. he was getting paid less for longer amount and had a better season the last 2 years due to Jordy Nelson being injured.
Mm-hmm.
They cut him and then signed Jordy Nelson for less years, more money. And he's 2 years older than Crabtree.
Okay.
I don't think I would have taken it. I think right now, Michael Crabtree, maybe not, but, and it's hard to ever say on the Raiders, but I think on the Raiders, Michael Crabtree would have had a better year than Jordy Nelson will next year. But even if I'm wrong about that, I do think over the next 4 years, which they had Crabtree signed to for less money, I think Crabtree will be a better product over the 4-year span than Nelson will be over the next 3 years.
I don't disagree with you per se.
That's my bigger picture. I'm not even talking about just next year, which I am also a guy, what do I always say? Play for the championship. So if they feel that next year Jordy Nelson will be the Jordy Nelson of old who is a top 10 receiver, which Michael Crabtree is not. He's a top 25 receiver. He's not a top 10 receiver.
Yeah, right.
So I do understand the difference in the best of Jordy Nelson this year, and you want to think you can win the Super Bowl this year, which I guess the Oakland Raiders, why not? I mean, you have a pretty solid core on defense. Not the best defense in the world. Good core. Great quarterback. Decent offensive line. Good running back. 2 good wide receivers. Decent tight end. I mean, you're thinking it's a shot. You want to at least think you can play with the Patriots and the Steelers and, whoever else is in that top thing with the AFC next year. I wanted to get your thoughts on it because we are both Jordy Nelson fans, and I know you like Jordy Nelson a little more than I do. But I'm still a Jordy Nelson fan. But
Jordy Nelson,
right?
I like Crabtree. I'm alright with Crabtree.
Right, and I like
Jordy Nelson a little more.
Right.
First of all, let me just say, Oakland Raiders aren't in playoff conversation.
I'm not saying they are. I just meant how they were looking at it from the standpoint of signing Jordy Nelson today.
Just throwing it out there.
Agreed.
2, it's not because I like Jordy Nelson, but I don't think they're necessarily wrong in this situation from the standpoint of Crabtree is very, very up and down. It's very peaks and valleys with him. Yeah, 2 years ago you could say, well, he was a baller. What did he do last year? A whole hell of a lot of nothing.
He led them in touchdowns receptions last year.
Mazel. I could have led them with touchdowns last year. He didn't ball out.
Amari Cooper, who is a top 10 receiver.
He didn't ball out compared to the year he had before. So, to me, that made him the second best wide receiver on that team. So
yes, for sure. But Jordy Nelson, I think, is the second best wide receiver on that team. I think Amari Cooper is younger, faster, more talented today. I'm not saying at their peak. I think Jordy Nelson at his peak is better than Amari Cooper for sure. But right now, I think Amari Cooper is a better receiver than Jordy Nelson.
Well, Jordy Nelson's still in his prime, so what are you talking about?
He's good. He's at the back end of his prime. Amari Cooper's just entering it.
Because he got hurt for 1 year?
2 years, and he's 32. He's 31.
I didn't know 31 was the new 51. What you talking about? Tom Brady's about to be 49 years old or whatever the hell he is.
He's an anomaly like Aaron Rodgers in the last conversation.
31 is not old. That's...
Wide receivers, Antonio Brown's like 26, 27. Julio Jones is like 28.
So what? That's not old.
Dez is 29, and people don't even think he... I think he can, but people are starting to say he's not of that. Odell's 4?
Age is even the situation as far as I'm concerned. If you're the Raiders, I don't think it's a bad move at all.
It's a young man's game. All right, no.
Stop it. No, don't even. No, knock it off. Jerry Rice was like 85 years old and he was still a baller.
Also not. Also not.
Okay.
Also not. Okay. Normal.
You can still.
There's exceptions to the rules for sure.
Even if you let's say Jordy Nelson, he's 31. Oh my God, he's so old. He's so old. No, look, I'm just going there. I'm gonna be real petty. He's so old, right? Oh my God, Jordy Nelson. He's 31. Holy shit, Jordy. Oh God damn. I guess I'm getting old, man. Whew. I'm about to retire. Whew. God damn.
The most popular rappers right now in the world are like 18, 19. Isn't that scary?
Damn.
That's crazy, right?
That's gonna be a whole sidebar. Damn, I guess I need to retire. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going now.
Jordy Nelson.
I have no.
Better than Crabtree next year.
Yes.
Better than Crabtree over the next 3 years than Crabtree will be over the next 4 years. It's a hard question. I'm not saying there's a guarantee on either side.
Yes.
Okay. I disagree.
Crabtree's inconsistent as hell. He's always been, his whole career has been inconsistent. Like I said, when he's good, it's like, oh my damn, he's a baller.
Right.
When he's not, it's like,
he's had a couple of down years for sure, but he's always
Nelson, outside of his injury, he's a baller.
He's always been a baller, right? I don't disagree with that.
So
and
I'm gonna take the 31-year-old who's about to be 75 baller over that. Yeah.
In a sport where every week it feels like they're getting in car crashes, anybody can get injured all the time. But also, I think with the history of injuries, maybe that's also sways my Crabtree thing over Nelson. Even though I don't think that has anything to do with this year or long term. I don't think it's going to affect them either way.
I think if I'm a defense and I'm looking at the situation, I'll be more fearful of having Jordan Nelson on the opposite side of Cooper than Crabtree.
And that's what I'm saying. And they look at it as a one-year thing.
Fearful.
Also, the other side of this, they didn't just let go of Michael Crabtree because of they weren't trying to upgrade in talent. This is also a culture thing. They're trying to change the locker room. Marquette King is an outspoken person, just like Crabtree was. Marquette King is legitimately a top 5 punter in the league, and they released him. Now, they released him, I think, because of contract things. But again, they are trying to change the culture of their locker room. They are trying to get less outspoken players. They've been very vocal about that, John Gruden, which is a little weird.
Whatever. I'm not even going to touch the punter situation because that'd be a whole issue, wouldn't they?
The issue that you have with it, I personally agree with.
You know what? You brought up the debt situation, which I wanted to sidebar because
people are still going on.
I did want to bring it up.
I think you would have been going by now.
No, that's not even where I was going. Do the Patriots go after him?
Yes. If they think they can get him for a reasonable deal, I think so, yeah. Remember when everyone said that Randy Moss was done?
I just want to throw that out there.
Pretty sure he caught the
I don't think it's going to happen. I still think he's going to be a Cowboy, but...
So do I.
My point being is, I don't think Des Bryant is done.
I don't think Des Bryant is done either.
He's not done by any means. And I said this several weeks ago when I've always been a defender that I don't think he's necessarily done. I just don't think the chemistry with him and Dak is there. Have I leaned back a little bit and said, okay, Des, damn, like, what the hell? Yeah, sure, definitely. I have to.
Is there times where you can
quote-unquote
scratch your head?
drops and shit
right.
speak for themselves.
That's
but
the
at
scratching
the same
your head
time,
part.
I will always fall back on, maybe I'm just a Des apologist. I don't know. The chemistry and this shit didn't happen until the quarterback change.
I wasn't going to say the chemistry.
If he gets an Aaron Rodgers, if he gets a Matt Ryan, if he gets a Tom Brady, are we not saying he's top 3 wide receiver? Yes, we are saying that, in my opinion.
When Des Bryant was balling and Romo was the quarterback, who...
He balled up into Romo's last year.
What I'm asking is, who wide receiver-wise, else was standing out?
Maybe Odell and Antonio, maybe...
No. I meant on the Cowboys. Like, who...
Oh, nobody.
Okay.
All right.
Dak comes in.
Mm-hmm. He went to Cole Beasley.
Because Cole Beasley is wide open because Des Bryant is being double covered. Because all those years that Des Bryant was not being double covered and burning defenses.
And what I said 2 years ago, nobody brings that up either. Jason Witten's numbers also went down drastically.
Because they were the main focuses, so now you can throw to Cole Beasley.
And Dak wasn't going to either one of them.
Now
he was going to Cole, he was going to Terrence
to the
Williams.
running backs, which now obviously he has Zeke, but he was throwing to the running backs. He had Zeke the whole time, I guess.
Dak drastically went to non-star players, and it worked for us.
Because it was underneath stuff, it was the open guys, it wasn't the double cover guys down the field. And when he found somebody down the field, they were one-on-one usually.
Dak and Des looked slightly better last year. He looked a lot better with Jason Witten last year, but it's still not what it was with Tony Romo. And that's not a knock on Dak. It's just what the hell Dak relies on compared to what Tony Romo relied on.
I agree.
In my opinion. So, I don't know. I think Des with Tom Brady would be... I'd hate to see it, but I'd also root for it if it happened. I'd root for him in that situation if it happened.
I always love a good football conversation in April. And I'm glad that Dwight fully embraced that one. Now, to the main event.
What's that?
I got a lot of questions, but I want you to navigate it.
So you're skipping the fight?
Oh, man. All right. I'm disappointed in this. Yeah, I have it written down. Crap. All right, this is my fault. I apologize, Dwight. The pre-fight before the main event, which... is actually no fight. It's not happening. There is no fight. Triple G,
At least with them too.
accused Alvarez of failing a drug test a couple weeks ago, said he thinks that the fight should get canceled. It has been announced the day of this recording that that is not wrong. That is true.
He failed a test. Canelo Alvarez failed a drug test.
Yeah, Canelo Alvarez failed a drug test. Triple G accused him of it a couple weeks ago and said that he doesn't think they should fight. It wasn't steroids, but it was HGH of some kind.
It was something that I couldn't even pronounce.
It was an HGH.
I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. It was something that I could have pronounced. But anyway.
It was cream.
You know,
It was a banned substance.
did you hear what Alvarez did say, though?
No.
Okay. Take it for what it's worth. Alvarez is claiming that he got whatever, again, it's a specific drug that I could have pronounced. I didn't even write it down. There's a specific drug that he's claiming. And if you read his actual statement, it's actually hilarious because he really went hard against this country. So it's almost like, damn, I wonder if he is being legit about this. He legit called out the country of Mexico because apparently...
That's where the drug testing happened.
Right, but apparently this specific drug has been linked towards being in certain meats within Mexico. I don't know if it's restaurants. I don't know if it's the grocery stores. It's something with the country of Mexico and their meats. They don't have the freaking USDA out there.
Right, yeah, I know that.
He's saying that's where he's saying it's quote-unquote small traces. That's what he called it. I don't know what the traces were. He's saying it was small traces.
They haven't released any of that.
Full out and full-blown is saying it's a Mexico problem. It's been a Mexico problem for years, apparently. I was reading about it.
Has he ever failed for it before?
I don't believe so. I don't know that.
Would that be a little random then? Under
Right.
the presumption he hasn't. I'm not saying he has or hasn't. Under the presumption he hasn't.
Right.
Questionable.
Right, and it's been apparently within recent history within boxing, several Mexican boxers have blamed that situation. Whether or not it's been proven or not, I don't think can be the case.
Okay.
But according to Alvarez, according to like 2 or 3 other boxers I've read about, this has been a known thing where they are claiming the meat within Mexico are contaminated by, I don't know, these farmers, these restaurants, I don't know who it is. They're saying that's where this is coming from, and that's why you get these traces, quote unquote, and this is why I quote unquote failed. Whether or not that's the case, I don't know. I don't care. But in his defense, as a fan of his especially, I felt the need to say that.
It's not.
It's irrelevant though because boxing fans lose. Triple G loses.
Okay, yes.
Canelo loses.
Yeah, well, Triple G gets money out of this for the other failing the drug test. The other people's promoter still has to pay them X amount.
Triple G is going to get money. He's going to get a lot less money.
Yeah. Oh no, he won't touch what he was. But there was agreed amount that if one of them failed a drug test, you have to pay the other one X amount. That's in all those. But yes, you're right. It's not. It might not even be a third of what he would have made. Who knows? There's no way of knowing because until the pay-per-view numbers would have came out, you wouldn't have known.
Triple G is still scheduled to fight. They're scrambling to find him.
Yeah, they're gonna try to find somebody on May 5th. So he's still gonna get both payouts, but it's not going to be near the amount. We're not going to sit there and pay for it for sure. Most likely.
No, I pay for the rematch. I find a way to watch
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to. We'll pay for a rematch.
Yeah.
I'll throw in some money to you for a rematch, but
it's disappointing. As a boxing fan, it's very disappointing. We don't know the truth. We may not ever know the truth. So I just felt the need to say Canelo's side of the story because it is interesting, especially with the history.
The only thing I want to say about that is it's not Canelo. It's not a him situation. It's a... I watch baseball, and I watch too many people act like they had legitimate excuses on why they didn't pass, and they were completely BSing.
I don't disagree.
People have lied to Congress.
What's his name? Rafael
Palmeiro. I did not do steroids.
I knew you knew his name. Right. I don't disagree.
And he did.
In fairness, I just felt his side of the story needed to come out.
And to be honest with you, and I don't like Bryan Braun. I like Canelo, so I am hoping and rooting for Canelo. I'll never forget sitting down. I was happened to be off the first day of spring training the year after Bryan Braun got suspended for the entire year for the steroid thing. And him opening his press conference and for a solid 20 minutes destroying the guy who picks up the P test from the clubhouse and takes it to the lab. And I will never forget him absolutely ripping that gentleman's name on national TV, trying to drag him through the mud, and it turned out that all 3 tests within a 3-week span came up positive, and he was absolutely and he got this man fired. I mean, he went after this man's job, and he got this man fired. Like it was
A-Rod do something.
Yeah, A-Rod did some very shady stuff about it and lied, and then lied again on national TV.
What is he doing now?
And he is dating
banging J-Lo and being a national broadcaster. Shout out to him.
And everyone's talking about how he might actually have a spot in the next couple of years, either on the bench as a manager in baseball or in a baseball organization, because he has to what he's doing on TV, he has a great baseball mind. Like, he really does have a great baseball mind. I love listening to A-Rod. But
and the Yankees have embraced him back. Hey, he won at life. Shout out to A-Rod.
How crazy is that?
Shout out to him. So maybe Alvarez will win at life in a couple of years. He's banging, I don't know, Demi Lovato or somebody, and he's a boxing analyst.
You gotta tell the truth, so.
Yeah. Anyway. It does suck. It sucks for everybody.
It does, because, and I want to believe him, so I'm not even going to sit here and say I don't believe him in any way, shape, or form. But what I am saying is, it would not be shocking in any way, shape, or form if we found out that he wasn't telling the truth, because it happens all the time.
For the record, I don't believe either side of it.
And we've never had this conversation. This might be a different conversation for a different day, because this has already been a very long and very good show, but
who cares?
I'm a person who, I'm not saying there shouldn't be any regulations, but it doesn't bother me that these players take steroids. I have an understanding of why they would do it. Boxing, any sport. Look, if you came to me, and I work in a warehouse, and you told me that I could make more money, do better, have better production, get paid 10 times the amount, and all I had to do was take this little pill, rub this little cream on my butt, you wouldn't do it. You're getting paid double the amount. You can work double the amount faster in a paid-for-performance situation.
I hear what you're trying to say, but
it's not morally correct. It's not morally correct, right, nor am I saying it is. It's illegal.
It's ethics. Then with sports we're talking about, well, with some sports I'll say. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about numbers and records. Mm-hmm. In boxing, we're talking about punching power.
Yes, yes.
There is a difference with.
As I said, there should be regulation for sure. But what I'm saying is, do I have the understanding of why they do it? Mm-hmm. Yes. Do I think that I want to see all of my baseball players roided out and just just bombing 7-foot home? Look, the fact that Bryce Harper is hitting home runs at the distance he is impressive, because no one else can do it. He physically can do it, and no one else can physically hit these home runs as far as he can. Everybody would be hitting home runs as far as that, because everyone was in the 90s. That's how this went.
I was going to say, when was the time that people really gave a shit about baseball?
When everyone was doing steroids. The pitchers, the catchers, the batters, every single player was doing steroids.
McGuire,
the best
Bonds came on.
The 1993 Philadelphia Phillies, the entire roster probably most likely would have failed for steroids if I had to guess. I'm not...
And baseball was hot.
In a baseball... I mean, the 1993 Phillies team is like one of the most beloved Philadelphia Phillies teams of all time. To your point, baseball was super hot in the 90s. And in the early 2000s. The Barry Bonds home run chase. When he picked his kid up at home plate.
I paid attention to that.
I mean, all of that
I paid attention to the
McGuire and Sosa stuff, of course. Yeah. So many people who don't pay attention to baseball in general absolutely were paying attention to that. It was fun. It wasn't safe for the players. No. And like I said, should there be regulation? Sure. Should you never be allowed to do it? Perfectly okay with that too, if that's how this is going to go. But there always has to be the understanding of, if somebody came to you at your work and told you, I can give you something that's going to give you double the amount of money you're making, make you perform on a perform per pay basis, make you perform double the amount, and you're going to get all the celebrity in the world out of it on top of it, of course these players are saying yes. And it's hard for people who are shaming them to tell me there's no, and we agree. Look, ethically, it's not okay. And look, I also think there's players in the 90s that legitimately didn't do it, that ethically thought this was absolutely ridiculous, and they did it the right way.
And I'm hoping those players that they give a shit.
Right? I'm hoping that it never comes out that Ken Griffey Jr. touched him, because as of right now, it seems like he never has. And
he's the only one.
But how amazing is that to be Ken Griffey Jr. then? Do you know what I mean? And how impressive is it?
That hasn't happened yet.
As a baseball fan, I love Ken Griffey Jr. for it. He was the moral guy in a non-moral era, and he was better than them. on the field. Now, I'm not saying off the field. I'm saying on the field.
Would you believe it? Would you believe it
if they said he took him? Yeah. He
I don't know if I would.
Everybody.
I mean, the numbers wise would say yeah, but I'm looking at him. I was like, I mean.
Oh, he never changed. He was kind of. Yeah, have you ever seen his dad? His dad was fat.
He was like chunky fit. I don't know how to describe Griffey. He was like chunky fit.
Agreed.
Like, he was like fit.
I know exactly what you're saying.
He was thick.
Have you ever seen Ken Griffey's dad?
He was thick.
Have you ever seen Ken Griffey's dad?
Just calling another man thick. That's suspect. But you know what I meant.
Ken Griffey's dad looked like he could have played guard in the NFL. He was a bigger. He had a belly on him.
You almost said it too. Thick, right?
I was gonna say fat, but he wasn't fat. I meant to say fat, but he had a belly on him.
Right. Griffey had a little guy.
So Griffey was in between. Griffey was like the athletic, chubby dude, you know.
Right.
And I'm not and he grew up to be just the same size as his dad. He didn't have crazy big muscles.
He got fat later on.
His legs were like you said, thick. I guess is the way to put it.
The Cincinnati years, he got a little fat.
Yeah, agreed. But he still had like the horse legs. You know what I mean? Where he was just able to just stride like nothing. Would I believe it? Yeah. Do I want to? No. Do I hope it? I hope, and I hope and pray. As I said, I really hope that he never took steroids.
It would have came out by this point.
I agree. I think it absolutely. Look, Derek Jeter, another guy who would have been at the tail end of it when he was in the minors. It was a really big thing, and
he's another one though. You look at him.
Oh, his size. His arms never got bigger than mine. He could throw like a cannon.
I mean, in fairness, not to transition at all, but in fairness, they try to say, in the 80s, some people try to say, and it's just ridiculous, some people try to say Ric Flair did steroids, it was like,
oh.
Right, you tilt your head, and you just like, oh, really?
I mean, I know, all the wrestlers were, but...
It's a similar thing when you looked at Warrior, you looked at Hogan, you look at everybody jacked as shit,
They were literally statues.
And some people still say...
statues.
Right, and then some people looked at Ric Flair and they were just like, oh, no, he took him as well because he was a part of that era, but...
Doesn't mean he took him.
Right, and you look at him and you're like, when? And even he jokes about it, he laughs about it, and he says, yeah, when? Because he was always kind of just flabby, just this
partying. He would rather party than work out all day.
Right, but point being, you will have those exceptions where somebody exceeds and they're a superstar.
Triple H. Did he take steroids back in the day?
I've always stood with the no. He was always the guy that
I'm
notorious. Right, I always say no.
With his size, he always, he was that
he would look right, and before he got that jacked, he was always jacked though.
Right,
like, he got a lot bigger later on.
In the 90s, how jacked he was.
He's also just one of those freaks that
works out all day, every day,
all the time, and he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't smoke cigarettes or weed. He doesn't do anything. He's always been clean cut 100% his entire career. Yeah. So. What did he do? He worked out. What does he do now? He just works out. So you will always have those type of people
for sure
that are a part of a system that does do drugs, does do steroids,
and they are the good people in them and not doing them. Yeah, for sure.
You got the Ric Flairs, you got the Triple H's, you presume the Derek Jeters, the
Ken Griffey Juniors. Yeah,
Ken Griffey Juniors
for sure.
You will always have those exceptions. Not everybody is.
That's just a conversation about steroids we never had, and I was always wondering about your opinion because,
it doesn't. Steroids at this point.
You have the understanding that I do.
At this point in 2018, steroids overall, I kind of just shrug it off.
It is few and far between people are taking them now, and it seems like most of the time when people take them, they are for the most part getting caught. It seems like it's a lot harder to get through the system now. WWE, baseball, football, basketball, boxing.
Does it give you an unfair advantage? Sure. Do I necessarily care, me personally? No, I don't give a shit.
It didn't make Barry Bonds. It didn't make Barry Bonds hit the ball. It just made Barry Bonds hit the ball further.
True.
Barry Bonds still had to make contact. Yeah, Barry Bonds still had to make contact.
That's very valid, and he still has to make it go between the lines. So,
he still had something to do, and when he hit it, 500 more feet than he actually had to out of bounds, you would assume even if he wasn't taking steroids, he would have at least hit it over the fence. Even if it was only 2 rows, not 15 rows. If it was only 2 rows more, I still think he would have probably hit not all of those home runs, but a good amount of them, yes.
Yeah.
Again, see the ball, hit the ball is still part of the thing.
Right. I couldn't do it. With or without steroids, I'm not hitting it.
You can't 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Exactly. Just because he took steroids doesn't mean he was taking the best relievers in the game, yard.
I do think it's always funny, sidebar, kind of. Because people bring this up to me even today, but especially because we talk about wrestling, and I talk about wrestling in general. I've been watching since I was 3 years old. People always say, well, these people take steroids, and it's like, well, if it's quote-unquote fake, then...
What does it matter?
Why do you give a shit?
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't matter if it... And
that's just a point.
I would rather
I've been wanting to throw that out for a while, and I just haven't done it. But what different... If it's quote-unquote fake, which it's choreographed, it's scripted, then who gives a shit what they take? It's all about how you look then. It's all about how you present yourself.
Agreed.
Then... So?
I'm not asking them to do a reel like I want them to be able to wrestle like real. I meant in the I look at it in the sense of, as a human who watches a lot of sports, I want my athletes to do it the right way, and because I know how bad it is health-wise for them to take steroids.
Sure,
I don't want to see any of these guys taking steroids because 10 years from now it can really destroy them.
At that point in 2018, if you're doing that, it's your prerogative. You made that choice.
But look, if you told me there was a way that they could take these things and there was no long-term effects, then in wrestling, I would have zero issue if you had...
I'd be on steroids.
100, right, agreed. 100 Andre the Giants out there beating each other up is what you would have, but that's what you had in the 80s, right? Just a bunch of Andre the Giants out there beating each other up.
And what did he get other than an HBO documentary? So
right. But you know what I'm saying? Like Hulk Hogan and all them, and Macho Man and all them who were definitely most likely doing it.
Yeah, Hogan admitted it. Savage, he claims it in, but at one point in the 80s, he was looking. I don't know if you ever saw him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Chiseled.
That Mania main event. That Mania main event at the Trump Towers or whatever, when he's walking down that steps, dude, he looks just...
He was chiseled.
Yeah, he looks just...
At one point.
He looks like the warrior. He looks like the ultimate warrior, doesn't he, walking down the steps that day?
I'll have to show you a pic, because I don't know if you ever see it. With him, he has a bandana. It's just him like this, and he has the bandana, and he has a championship. This is freshly winning.
Yes.
And he's like
I've seen
this.
It. Yep, I've seen it. I've seen it.
The man is chiseled.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So you would suspect.
Is that the one he won it at? Is that the same one?
Yeah,
or it's the same
Mania
era.
4.
Is that what it is? All right.
Yeah. Same era. Yeah.
So I saw him walking down the steps of that before. Like I've seen that a million times, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Jacked.
Speaking of WrestleMania, the main event. You're wearing an Undertaker shirt. I got a lot of questions for you. I'm gonna let you start off, and I'm gonna let you dictate how we talk about this.
Sure, but you're already going there, so let's
go. No. We don't have to start with that.
Nope, we're already going there.
Okay. We're here. New Orleans, correct?
Nolans.
I've known that, and I've asked you that a couple times. I did know that before I asked you. Nolans. Breeze.
Try again?
Breezes.
Try again?
New Orleans.
Yeah, you should stick to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Nolans. I'm not claiming I say it correctly, but I say it a lot better than he does.
Well, I don't do Southern accents well. I'm okay with that.
I go black accents, but same difference.
Black Southern accents, where that is.
Nolans.
Nolans.
Okay. Anyway, they're in Nolans, yeah.
Superdome, Mercedes Superdome. You would assume.
I don't know.
You would assume.
Actually, I don't know.
You would assume.
Huh.
It can't be where the Pelicans play. It has to be in the Superdome. It has to be.
Huh.
It has to be in the Superdome.
Huh.
Mercedes Superdome.
Huh. I'm presuming, but it's funny that you brought that up because all I've been hearing for weeks on television and on social media, New Orleans, Nolans.
They would say Superdome, you would think, right? Yeah.
I don't think I've heard anything other than what city it is.
They built it up when it was in the Cowboys Stadium as
right.
AT&T Stadium, the Jerry's World the whole time. They built up. Anytime they go to Madison Square Garden, they don't say New York City, they say the Garden.
Huh. I'm assuming Superdome, but
you would think
it's funny that you brought that up because I can't recall hearing the name.
So,
anyway, in Nolans.
You dictate to us where we're going here with Mania. There's a lot to get into.
There's a lot. There's actually 13 matches. I'm not going through all 13 matches. But let's just go there. Let's just go straight to the Undertaker situation.
Okay. John Cena sucks. John Cena
sucks. How much do you know about the situation up until this point?
just that John Cena has called out. I don't know if he called The Undertaker out, that he has hinted that he should have fought The Undertaker a while ago in WrestleMania and it never happened and he wants to give the people what they want. That's as far as I have.
And that's about where we're still at. So long story short, this has been a match that people have been begging for practically for like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
It's a match that I'm like, hey, why not? Like, yeah, heck yeah, that'd be great. That'd be solid. John Cena's solid. Taker, he's at the tail end of his career, but he still can go. Be a great matchup. Hell yeah. It would be a pick'em. Who would win? It's not something that you could easily predict, especially 5-10 years ago when John Cena was winning and winning and winning and winning.
But it was still Taker at Mania.
Right, and he was winning and winning. That's perfect. But we're up to a point, I believe this is the third week now, and as of this recording, Monday Night Raw already happened. This was the third week. John Cena's called him out. He's called him out. He's questioned his manhood. He's questioned his dedication to the fans. He's said, these people have made you, but you're not saying anything. You're not doing anything. You're not showing up. This is the third week in a row where he's done this, and Taker has done nothing. He has not shown up one time. He has not said a thing. They have not hinted at a single thing. For 3 weeks now, John Cena has been doing this. He's come out and he's calling them out.
Is this a good, the WWE doing something right for once?
Okay, you know what?
They at least built up hype going into Mania. At minimum.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I'm not saying it's
good. I've looked at it from both sides. I hear exactly where you're going, because that's the one side I'm like, because we don't know. Heading into this, we don't know. Is Taker going to show up at WrestleMania? Right.
He laid his hat down last year. He hasn't showed up to one Raw.
Right.
So, of course he's showing up at Mania.
On paper right now, we don't have a match.
Right.
So if he magically shows up...
When does it fit in?
Is that match 14?
Yes.
There's a possibility. Look,
and if it... a lot of matches, man.
That is a lot. I mean, it's a 4-hour fucking show.
13 matches.
Dude, it's from 7 to 11 on paper, right?
What time does the main event... what time does Mania itself start? 8?
7 o'clock.
What time's the pre-show?
5. Right. From 5...
Are you watching the pre-show?
I am not. It might be on. I'm going out
I remember we had it
to my boy Tony's house, but...
Sadly, I'm not. Shout out to all of you. I wish I was.
Sadly, you are not, but yes.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, last year I threw it on at 6 or something.
I remember I came in to your apartment and it was on before Mania.
Right.
First year in a while we're not watching Mania together. We'll make that not a habit.
That's drawn. Anyway, so the pay-per-view itself starts at 7 o'clock. Last year it started at 7 o'clock. It was the same thing. It had a 2-hour pre-show, but it was like midnight too. It was after midnight actually. I remember because we were like, damn, how much longer?
I do remember, yeah. You and
I was like, it's been like 5 hours.
It was late. And you had work the next day because you were going to school, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same scenario where it's like, okay, it's midnight. All the main event's just starting. Okay, we got a good enough 15, 20 minutes. It's just weird. Anyway.
Because what if that is Cena and Taker? And if they wait till the end, then you're really wondering at 11:55, is this going longer or not? I'm saying, I'm not saying
it's definitely going over 11.
Right. It will. No, I'm saying 11:55, but I'm saying at 11:55 and Cena's standing there in the ring. Now you're figuring out, oh no, is it going to end at midnight or is Cena coming out? If that's how they set it up, that's the only way they capitalize as far as they possibly can on this situation. He's called him out.
Here's the thing with this situation. John Cena's claiming he's either going as a fan or he's facing The Undertaker. Which is, it's like going as a fan. Like, what does that mean? He's just going to be chilling in the audience. This is what he's claiming.
Sit front row and high five every wrestler that comes out. Hey, Ronda Rousey, Steph, oh woo! Is he going to make a sign?
Right. So it's just kind of just.
Is he gonna be wearing a Shane O'Mac t-shirt sitting in the front row? Oh, he should wear the Undertaker shirt.
That would actually.
If he wore the Undertaker shirt, sit in front row.
That would be hilarious.
Or like 316 or like NWO or something like that.
I'd be in on that.
The red NWO, that would be so awesome if he was sitting. If he
that.
was sitting front row,
For
red
once,
NWO.
For once he'd be kind of relevant, as in 20 years too late relevant. I don't know.
You and I would be really good writers for the WWE, right? We'd be really good writers for this if we had.
I think so.
If you and I did this, we would have handled that so well right there. We would have Cena sit in front row in an Undertaker shirt, and then the next match he would have a different wrestling shirt on, and and he'd high five every wrestler as they're coming by. Oh yeah.
That's the thing. That's not happening.
No.
But the other thing is, what the hell is happening?
I don't know. That's awesome. You're right. What is happening?
Okay, so on one
is this
hand,
stage going to be from, is it going to come from the actual, like, bay into the arena like it did last year where it was 7,000 feet?
Yeah, it's been like that for several years.
I know, but last year was the longest it's ever been.
Yeah, that's what
by like 30 feet or whatever.
It's going to be that, yeah, always.
Are they wheelchairing him in this time, or how are they doing it?
Taker? I was going to say, not John Cena.
I want to know your... Okay, go on, because then I have a real legit question.
The Cena thing, right? The Cena and Taker thing.
Can I ask you
on one hand, I understand. If you're going to surprise this quote-unquote match...
It's the way to do this.
Then it's like, okay, cool, for once you kind of quote-unquote shocked everybody. Because at this point, considering there's been no Undertaker since January...
Yeah.
Then it would be surprising, quote-unquote. But at the same time, you have this match that is, quote-unquote, historic. And even the first time John Cena called him out, he said, one more match for Taker. And it would be, quote-unquote, one more
match, right?
You would hope that you would bank on that. You get viewers for that. Mm-hmm. You get people to buy into that. You don't just look down the table and be a maybe. That's dumb.
And not to... but to sort of... kind of throw shade on the WWE. What have they done the last 4 or 5 WrestleManias? Brought back nothing but old names to get it going. So this would
and they're doing it this year as well.
Right, absolutely. But that match in particular would be right down that wheelhouse of bringing back old names and bringing back matches that should have happened a long time ago to the forefront now to get the viewers to watch.
The one thing that might solidify this, which is what everybody's banking on, but I'm still like, it's almost too predictable. Mm-hmm. They got Kid Rock going into the WWE Hall of Fame, the celebrity wing, which he deserves as much as people want to hate on it, and I kind of did at first too. But if you really look at it, he deserves it.
My dad likes Kid Rock, so that's good. Good shout out to that Kid Rock.
Yeah, definitely.
He puts on a good show, like a good concert. I know a lot of people who go to his concerts, and they all tell me it's. If you enjoy his music, he puts on a very good concert. And he's about his fans. It's always cheap tickets. Oh, yeah. He sells his own beer, and his beer is only like $3 at the stadium. You know how it's usually 7 or 8? Mm-hmm. He sells it at $3. He sells it at reasonable prices. So shout out to Kid Rock. Like, he's about his fans. He's about... That's what I enjoy about him, not his music. So I'm with you. If he deserves it, even better. Good for him.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it. The thing with him is that he did the Undertaker's theme at one point.
Mm-hmm. When he was on the motorcycle.
Undertaker put all his dead man shit on the thing last year.
Yeah, he laid the hat down, but he never retired.
So if you really want to go out on the one more thing,
never retired Mark.
And not do the... No, they're not going to do that. But if you... But basically it would be that, but they would call me Undertaker.
Right, because that's what they did with Mark last time.
You have Kid Rock, which they keep saying he's going to perform, but they haven't said what or when or how.
That, and the Taker's coming out during that time, obviously. This isn't even... This is the most WWE move of all time.
And it makes sense, and I don't hate on it. That's
he laid his hat down last year, so I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Does he or does he not come back? Do you think he does? Like, does Dwight personally... I know we broke down what happens if he does and what happens if he doesn't. Does Dwight...
I have 2 different answers. Does it happen? Yes. Do I like it? No.
Does he wrestle?
Yes.
He doesn't just come out on the motorcycle, drive around, shake Cena's hand, the crowd goes wild, they both stand up there.
Cena's been talking way too much shit. He don't... Okay. No. He doesn't just shake his hand.
And like I said, I haven't watched it.
Do I like that? Do I like that? No.
Okay.
To me, he had the perfect finale to his entire
the way he
career.
laid that hat down last year was awesome.
Took his gloves off, his hat, his jacket.
Yep.
It was a perfect way for the Undertaker to go away. I don't like it. But is it going to happen?
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to. the way John Cena's been dogging him, talking about his manhood, talking about his nuts and not having any balls and all this, talking about his wife, and John Cena's been talking way The Undertaker having like a 25-plus year career is not just going to ignore the fact that John Cena has been dogging him like this.
At this point.
Stop it. John Cena at least is going to get chokeslammed somewhere. Even if it's not a match. Okay, let's say that. Undertaker's definitely going to come out and chokeslam this man.
Okay, alright.
Whether or not it's a match or not, I don't know, but John Cena's getting punched in the mouth.
Do you think it's good for wrestling?
It's going to be a moment, so yeah. Do I like it? I don't want Undertaker to have a match. Because I think he went out perfectly last year. But if he comes out and beats John Cena's ass in a quote-unquote non-match, sure.
But you're saying at this point, all but he has to come out and do something the way it has been set up.
Well, yeah, he has to.
All right.
You can't say the Undertaker has no balls and then Undertaker not show that he has balls. He's the Undertaker.
One of the best.
Right. He has to come out and punch
Ever.
John Cena in the mouth. Whether or not it's a match or not, it's kind of redundant.
So, what happens if he doesn't show up? Disappointed?
That's more than a disappointment. That's questioning his entire being as being this.
Is that a question WWE
force.
though? Are you questioning WWE then?
Well, of course, yeah, because they would have allowed this situation.
They would have set this whole thing up, right?
Right, and then that's just like, what the hell? Like,
right.
You just destroyed the Undertaker then.
Well, I think Taker is coming back, and I'm with you, but I'm with you.
He's showing up in some capacity.
I'm with
How?
you.
I don't know.
I don't think I like the situation the more we've talked about it. So.
Okay. Well, that's that. And I went way longer than I thought I was going to, but no, it's a good conversation.
Yeah, it was.
Something else. I mean, like I said, I'm not going through every single freaking match out here. We'll save the roundup thing for last. Let's just jump right into the Daniel Bryan situation.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan.
Talked about that a little bit last week, and you wanted to elaborate a little more on the post-match or post-altercation situation he has.
Yeah, post him. Like I said, 3 years ago, he actually had a fuck of a year. He not only lost his career to the concussion thing because the whole CTE thing.
Yeah, they didn't want him to basically
get more
the rest of his life.
Right. But wrestling's fake, whatever. But, whatever. But that was a legitimate thing. It's a legitimate concern. Not only did he have that, he got married and he lost his father, all within like a 4-month time frame.
So it was wild.
And one of those happened back to back. I think he got married and then his father died.
Oh.
Literally within 30 days. It was freaking wild. It was within a 4-month time frame. Which you gotta imagine, and people
life altering.
Right, and people don't consider the fact that look,
these athletes have a life outside of what they do for our entertainment. What are you talking about?
But imagine having goals, having a career, having a dream,
ripped away,
literally in the prime of your life, and then you have a parent die.
Yeah, you lost
in the mix of that, you're also getting
having
married.
a very happy moment in your life. Agreed.
All of this happens.
It's emotion. That's a lot of emotion.
That's wild
for any human.
So, randomly, 2 weeks ago, WWE says Daniel Bryan's clear. He's been fighting with doctors. Every single doctor he's ever gone to has said he's good to go. It was WWE's doctors that were saying,
right.
No, you need to be out here. We don't think you're good to go. Even though 1,000 other doctors says he's good to go. Here's the thing, and here's the suspect thing with him and this whole situation. We're in the CTE era, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Daniel Bryan is really 100% clear to go, which is what they're claiming, whatever treatment he had, it's not WWE's doctors that are personally saying this. I forget the exact name of it, but there's a specific group of doctors that he went to, and they are claiming he's without a shadow of a doubt 100% clear.
Cool.
His brain, here's a big thing. They're saying his brain is 100% cleared as if he never got concussed.
Good. I don't know how that's possible.
That's my bigger thing. Let's say in theory, well, not even in theory, let's just go with that.
They're not finding CTE till about 15 years after players are retired of football. How do they know that for a fact?
This is exactly where I'm going, and this is my exact question with this. If Daniel Bryan is really 100% clear, as this group of people are saying, this group of doctors are saying, then why is Daniel Bryan not on every single talk show, on every single magazine cover, on every single sports podcast, broadcast? This is a miracle then at this point.
I didn't mean
why is the NFL, why is not the NBA losing their mind saying, what is this? And how do we sign up? Because if this is a real thing, and mind you, it's not WWE that is claiming this.
You're right, it's the other doctors.
If this is, I'm not faulting these doctors.
Andrew Luck needs to go to those doctors.
I'm just saying. If this is not a real thing, where you were 1,000% clear, and like
his is a shoulder injury, so I was just making a bad joke there. But
I'm just saying, no.
Yes, but, like to your point here,
they're claiming 100%.
A medical miracle happened.
His brain is where it was before his concussions.
Not possible.
I'm just saying, it looks suspect on their part. It looks suspect as hell on WWE's part. The fucked up thing is, if he gets punched one time the wrong way,
and it happens,
who looks bad? Not the doctors. It's gonna be WWE. It's gonna be
for letting him come back.
It's gonna be the worst thing since Chris Benoit. I'm just saying.
Who's that? I try to watch matches of his on the WWE Network.
It's there, but it's kind of difficult. You can find it, right? You can't WWE Network search it. You got to know it, right? You got to go on Google and find when he. Right, I know. Trust me, I've tried many times. He's there. You just got.
We've had the conversation. Right. I know.
So I look at it this way. It's the worst thing since then, right?
Yes, and I apologize for my natural reaction of stealing your thunder, because my natural reaction was, that's dumb, and that's... No, because you were leading... You led up this whole entire thing to let everyone know that this is a medical miracle, and this would be the first time. But I literally, as a natural reaction, was like, hold on a second.
Because you're a common sense thing.
I watch a lot of sports, and I know that all these football players they're not finding this in their brain until 15 years after they're retired, 10 years after retired. Sometimes it is sooner, sometimes it's within 4 or 5 years. But they're not, for the most part, they're not finding CTE in any of these players' brain while they're playing. And
I'm supposed to believe...
This is long-term effects is what concussions is the problem. It's not...
I'm supposed to believe that a group of doctors, like
his brain was so swollen,
that a group of 4 guys is saying, yeah, he good.
His brain was so swollen, 16 months ago that he had to retire for the rest of his life.
That WWE was the only one saying he's not good. Mind you, I'm pulling numbers on my ass. Mm-hmm. 1 out of 20.
I got you, right.
20 are saying he's good. WWE's saying no, but because 3 guys over here are saying
he's perfectly fine, the WWE said it's okay.
You would hope so, and I like Daniel Bryan. He's a good wrestler. He's a great guy, on and off.
Yeah, from everything I hear about him,
great guy, great freaking guy. You would hope that it works out, but God, if it doesn't, and if he fucks around and gets one bad move, falls one bad way, and goes into the backlash will be the next coming of Daniel Bryan, as far as Daniel Bryan, Chris Benoit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
For different reasons, obviously, but
agreed.
Which is why WWE held off.
How mishandled the situation will look,
right,
long term if he dies because of brain injury.
I was even going death, but yeah, even if he just has a concussion, it's going to look horrible.
And there has been organizations, there has been sports organizations. Now I know that they are not a franchise. The WWE is an entire, they would be more of a league as an NBA or anything like that. But there have been organizations. The Miami Heat will not sign off on letting Chris Bosh play basketball ever again because for the only reason of, if he dies on the court, they don't want the Miami Heat name on across his chest while he's laying there on the court.
Which is why WWE held off as long as he did.
To our conversation earlier about Gronk and Kawhi Leonard, that is them caring about the player's health more than trying to win basketball games, because Chris Bosh can still win you basketball games in the NBA. Is he as good as he was 5 years ago? No. But can he still be a productive player? You would assume so with his talent level. Maybe not today, but last year and the year before, you would have thought he would at least have had something for you.
He's still solid.
The Daniel Bryan situation, same thing. You don't want him getting seriously injured or death eventually on your dime.
It wouldn't be good. It would not be a good look at all. Hope for the best. He's having a match at WrestleMania. pulling for him. I'm pretty sure he's going to win. Him and Shane. Shane also had a whole medical situation. Yeah. He went on vacation with his family out of country. He ended up getting, I forget the exact term, but he ended up getting an illness. And, you know, apparently he's good. They're going to have a match together as a tag team. You're slated to win, obviously, but you just hope health-wise that they're going to be all right. You would hope so. Because they're both very scary situations.
Not to sound...
Shane, I think it was diverticulitis. I forget the exact... I probably just butchered that.
No,
you know, comment in my mentions.
Got his head bounced off a steel plate less than a month ago.
Right. Like, legitimately, so...
The other thing I wanted to say on... it goes with both of them, not just Daniel Bryan, but... Gronk, Shane O'Mac, Kawhi Leonard, they all signed on a dotted line somewhere saying that they have the understanding that this can hurt them long term. So at the end of the day, they are still have to be self-aware and check yourself. And if Daniel Bryan really legitimately thought that long term this would hurt him, or there could be one punch and that would be it type thing, I don't think he would sign this up. So,
well, that was the thing with him. Just real quickly.
Yeah, no.
Supposedly it's come out. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't read it, but I just saw a random tweet, so it could be fake. Mm-hmm. And I'm leaning towards fake. Supposedly Triple H said, and supposedly he came out and said WWE was fearful that he would go elsewhere. Because, in fairness, whether it's real or not, Daniel Bryan legitimately has come out and said within the past year and some change, if WWE was going to do it, he was going to do it somewhere else. And if he ends up being 100% good and clear, as far as not getting any more concussions, he's a huge name. He's a huge star. You know, you do this yes shit.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that come from? Came from him.
I was just saying.
Colleges are doing it. Sports are doing it. Like, as much as people like to shit on wrestling, a lot of pop cultural shits come from wrestling. He started this.
Yeah, for sure.
He started that. So, he is a huge name and a huge star, and WWE definitely would not want that to
They would have
anywhere.
Lost out on that if they didn't pull him back in. And as you said, he's 100% healthy in the future and can wrestle with no problem.
Right, so you don't want that to walk. So regardless of if he said that or not, you know internally they are thinking and or saying that.
So, I have a question before we move to the next part.
What's that?
The world really wants to know, and we can't wait any longer. Is Jericho going to be there? Alright, I'm joking. I really wanted to know. The world doesn't care. I just care about the greatest wrestler of all time.
I kind of care.
The GOAT.
I disagree, but I'm with you.
Have you ever read his shorts?
It's GOAT. I get it. He's one of the best ever. I
don't think he's the greatest of all time. I like Jericho. He's my favorite current wrestler.
I'll say this. He's not on paper.
Okay. But you think he'll show up, maybe?
I think he will. There's a battle royal.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Right,
I don't know if it's 15 or 30 men that's going to be in this battle royal. It's a battle royal.
Right.
I think he has the potential to show up to that.
Okay.
If not, I think Braun Strowman, he's in a tag team match. He has a mystery tag team partner. I don't think it's going to be him, but that's another opportunity.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be. You heard it from me first. I didn't hear this from anybody else.
Okay.
It's just logical.
Love it.
He's not employed with WWE. He was actually let go some months ago. I think his partner will be James Ellsworth. It'll be funny.
I don't know who that is, but...
The guy with the no chin.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I get it, because Braun Strowman is...
It would be the
biggest guy ever versus the weakest guy ever.
And that's how, actually, James Ellsworth got his start in WWE. It was his very first match. He wasn't supposed to be there.
He was against...
Braun Strowman in his very first match, and James Ellsworth was absolutely nobody, but the fans laughed at him, and he became a meme, and he became an internet thing because of this chin thing. Then that's exactly what happened. Some months ago, they got rid of him. They were just like, all right, we're
done with this.
I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. It would make sense. It would be great. It would be funny. It would complete the whole circle in the cycle. James Ellsworth would get a great payday. Shout out to him.
And it'll be the last time we see him.
Well, he would be tag team champion if that happened. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so he would be back in.
Right.
All right.
I think that's what's going to happen. But regardless, Jericho could also be in that situation.
Yeah, I got you.
I think Jericho does appear in some capacity.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see it.
But I don't know.
All right. I was joking, though. Move on.
So real quick, I'm just going to run through a couple of these till we get to the Rousey thing, because it's actually going a lot longer, which is good.
Yeah, it has. But it is good. I agree.
I'm just going to name some things real quick. I got Nia over Alexa Bliss for the Women's Championship on Raw.
Okay.
There's a couple matches.
All the titles are up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As usual.
There's 13 matches outside of the Taker thing, which might be 14.
Right.
There's 13 matches. I'm looking forward to about 7 of them, 6 or 7. which is pretty solid actually.
Yeah,
to me, that's
a great yeah.
At my age,
Dwight usually
for
tells
6 or 7 of 13.
Yeah, Dwight usually tells me how many to get ready for, and I think last year was like 3 that we were excited for.
Right.
So I mean, to hear you tell me 6 or 7 makes me kind of excited.
And I said a couple of weeks ago that this is looking very solid, and it on paper, start to finish, it's a very solid pay-per-view, very solid WrestleMania.
Glad to hear that.
Some matches I don't give a shit about, like the U.S. title match. I'm going Rusev Day.
Okay.
But I don't care. The Intercontinental title match, I'll take Finn Balor. Don't care. Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. Don't really care. Go with Nia. I like both of them. Nia.
Who's Finn Balor fighting?
Seth Rollins and The Miz for the Intercontinental title.
Okay, sorry.
Well, shout out to The Miz. Him and Maurice just had their
congratulations
baby
to them.
a week ago.
How far has The Miz come in? How long ago were we like hating on him 24/7?
I hate The Miz.
I know you still do.
Up until about a year and a half ago.
But like
after 10 years.
No, I know, and I couldn't stand him either. But shout out to him for putting himself into that situation and really honing that craft, because that is really impressive.
Shout out to him.
That's a cool thing to watch grow, and especially on somebody who was on the side of it. I could not stand The Miz either, but now I like to see him do well. Not saying he will, and I'm with you.
But shout out to him. He overachieved like a son of a bitch with his wife, and they just had their firstborn. Mazel.
But sorry, I just wanted to know who Finn Balor was fighting. Keep going.
What else? There's some battle royals I don't necessarily care about. I'm just glancing at this.
There's Overeat battle royal, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a woman. Yeah, right. There's a women's battle royal, which outside
so the Overeat trophy.
Yeah,
that's not a shot at women. That's the trophy. Really looks like ovaries.
Which I said last week I was going to get to the Fabulous Moolah situation, but
we're just going to skip over it because it's dumb.
It's gone long enough.
The WWE mishandled it twice.
Yeah.
Okay. We can talk about it after Mania for sure.
Yeah. Asuka versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka won the first Women's Royal Rumble. She's undefeated. I'm going with her. It's gonna be a great match. It's gonna be great. Okay. If you watch it, and you're gonna watch it.
I'm definitely going.
If there's one women's match to pay attention to, Asuka.
I'm gonna pay attention to all of them.
But
that's the one.
I mean, it's a 4 pay-per-view. At some point, people are going to zone the hell out.
For sure.
So if there's one women's match to pay attention to, pay attention to that one. That's going to be solid. I'm going with Asuka. Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Nakamura won the Royal Rumble for a men's side this year. That's the match that I showed you last year when they were in Japan, or 2 years ago.
I remember, yeah.
On paper, that's going to be phenomenal.
They're fighting each other.
Yeah. Pay attention to that. I got Nakamura in that situation. They have to give it to him. God, they can't let him lose again.
Agreed.
Now's the time to go with that. There's only 2 more matches I want to touch base on. You got Roman versus Brock for the Universal title.
I got to go Brock.
I wish, but I'm going Roman.
Okay. I mean, I just got to go Brock because I'm going to root for him.
Brock's had the title for over a year.
Right, I remember he barely
comes and goes.
He barely is ever in it anymore.
Like every 4 months he shows up. They need to get the belt off him. He's on a contract here. Rumors picking up again that he's going to UFC again.
I don't know if the UFC will take him after the last failed drug test.
Knock it off. They want money. Just like the whole Ronda thing.
That's
I don't know if Ronda Rousey going to show up, and Ronda's like, what are you talking about? I never retired, which I'm like, correct. Thank you. 1, 2, your name.
I didn't think about the UFC in general. The UFC is hurting really bad. I think they will take anybody.
They would shrug Ronda
and
Brock off.
They took Jones back.
John Jones.
Yeah, John Jones. How many times? I was gonna say Jim Jones. Shout out to Dipset.
They took John Jones 3 times. They would take Brock.
They would take Jim Jones.
Guess would Brock be on number 2?
2 or 3? No, because he was in early UFC.
He was.
Remember
he was there post WWE. Then he left. I guess this would be his 3rd time if it happened.
Yeah,
they would take him
because he was in the early UFC, like right when it first started being.
Well, it was already big, but
he was. But in the who was the guy? Kimbo Slice era.
Ish.
Right.
Yeah, right. They would take him back. Okay, the big thing. Okay, you got, well, at least as far as JD Sports is going to go with, you got Kurt Angle. Talk about guys who are old. And Triple H is in it too. Talk about guys who, right.
What about women that are old?
Steph's still bad. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't disagree, but you're still talking about a name that's been around since the early 90s.
I'm just going to throw this out. Look, you're a man in a relationship and you're about to have a kid and mazel, but as far as Dwight is concerned, Steph is still...
Yeah, she's still better.
Still bad.
She's absolutely
still bad.
I think she's better looking now than she might have been back in the day.
It's funny because I say the same thing and people look at me sideways. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Like, she looked bad back in the day.
But I think she looks better now today than she did back in the day, for sure. Shout out to her for keeping it going.
Hey, shout out to Hunter. Hunter
True,
kept that ass in shape.
Triple H. Well, that's because he live in the gym.
Yeah, because he don't do drugs. But it's Kurt Angle, and the big thing, he's teamed with Ronda Rousey versus Steph from Triple H. Ronda, I just want to say real quick.
Your favorite UFC fighter of all time, right?
Correct, which, you could say whatever you want about that, but...
You're just a big fan of Ronda Rousey in general.
Yeah. And I got on their situation with her. It's gotten a little better. They kind of scaled it back a little bit. It's looking better. She's looking better. She still looks a little flustered out there, which is natural.
I was going to say, this is super unfair to ask before you go further. Because it's super unfair to nitpick every little thing she does, but this is what we do with people like Lonzo Ball that are new to new things. When she got put through the table, did she look... It didn't look natural, right? Steph looked a little...
I hated that happened. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That was sort of Steph's fault as well, how it looked weird, but they both kind of positioned themselves. It didn't look natural. It just didn't look natural. It wasn't natural movement.
No,
and that's what
comes from inexperience. 1, 2.
That's what gets picked apart. And Steph also, not that she's super experienced in the ring, but has way more experience, and that's my point. Yeah.
I get that it was done to make Steph look like more of a threat, and Ronda's probably just going to beat the shit out of her at WrestleMania, which I get it from that angle, but from my perspective, I was like, that's Ronda Rousey. I don't need to see Stephanie do anything to her.
We agree.
Like, knock it off. Like, you could still make Steph look like a badass without putting Ronda to a table.
We agree.
I more so thought Ronda looked a little funny when Aftermath, when she kept looking up and staring at her. I was like, yeah, just chill, Ronda.
And that's
inexperience.
And like I said, it's not fair for us to just break down every little moment of hers, because her laying in that table,
it looked funky.
We're not breaking down everyone else's experiences the first couple times they went through a table on national television for the WWE.
And they also had, like, I don't know how many months or years experience on top of that. She's been around for like 5 minutes, literally.
And the whole thing happened to get things like ESPN to show the clip, which they did.
Of course they did.
That was the reason that Steph did it. I'm with you. They didn't need it, because you and I agree, this whole thing needs to get set up where Ronda just runs right through.
If Ronda doesn't destroy Stephanie at WrestleMania,
because that's how it actually...
If Steph doesn't run away from her the entire time, it's a fail.
Right, because we watched Ronda beat people legitimately to a pulp in the UFC a couple times, so...
That's been my biggest fear of her career in the WWE, is that if she's not the female Brock Lesnar, then it's a fail to me. Her going through a table, I think
But Brock has been put through announcing tables and things like that.
Yeah, but
she's also 10 times more of a dominant force than most women should be in that sport because of what she did before compared to them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But Brock wasn't put through a table his first month of being with the company.
Okay, we agree. Okay,
2 months, whatever.
You're right.
But, his fourth or fifth appearance, he wasn't going through tables to Vince. It'd be the equivalent of Vince putting him through the table.
And you're right.
His fifth appearance.
And you're absolutely right. And not to ping pong back and forth, because I'm not going to sit here and you are way more invested.
It's not a good look.
You were way more invested and know way more about it. But But Ronda Rousey might be more in on going through a table than Brock Lesnar ever would have been, because Ronda Rousey grew up a huge wrestling fan and wants to be part of the stick. She wants to be part of the whole, I'm not Brock Lesnar, I can lose. In real life, I might be able to beat everybody up, but she wants to be part of, I'm scared of Stephanie McMahon, when you and I absolutely know she has zero reason to be scared of Stephanie McMahon.
In fairness, that's what she keeps saying. Maybe it's just me. It has to be me. I'm looking at it from the perspective that she needs to be...
She was a UFC fighter like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, she just needs to be the badass, and nobody intimidates her. Nobody gets the upper hand of her, because otherwise she looks foolish to me.
What made her popular in UFC?
She was fearless, and she beat the shit out of people.
She was what? Undefeated.
Right.
That's how you get this in the WWE. You get her to 32-0. You get her to 16-0. You get her to that number where she never gets pinned. if they lose this match, it's Angle getting pinned. You know what I mean? You can't have the visual of her getting pinned at any point in the next 3 years. I'm with you. I want her to win every match she is part of.
You know what you do? You have Charlotte lose to Asuka, the undefeated Asuka. You build Ronda up, and you put...
To fight Asuka, because she is the Brock Lesnar of that group, right? She hasn't lost, right?
Right.
Okay.
If you put...
She's the bigger lady, yes? Like, she's like the monster.
Nah, no, that's
Who's that monster girl?
That's Nia.
Okay.
The bigger girl?
Yeah, she's like...
Cousin of the Rock?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Nia. Which I think she's going to be Alexa Bliss for the title.
Oh, okay.
No, this is the other woman's match.
Because she should be as dominant as Ronda for the most part, too, due to just size.
Right. You would think.
That would be a fun matchup, too, eventually, one day, but keep going.
Yeah, definitely. No, Asuka's the thick Asian girl.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and which she's solid.
But yeah, build them both up as she's undefeated. Build Ronda up to be undefeated and have them go against each other.
Yeah, definitely. But what I was going to say, I do think Ronda's looked a little better. Mm-hmm. She looks a little more comfortable on the mic, and by little I mean she went from like 2% comfortable to like 10, which is still it's so much more of an improvement.
But
you can see every single week. The first week, the second week it was cringe. It was bad.
She's gonna get comfortable.
Third week it was a little better. Like every single week that they brought her out since, it's still not where it will be at one point, but it's like okay. You could definitely see the progression with her. Is
she gonna be your favorite wrestler?
Female wise, I mean,
why not? Because you like her in general already. So yeah,
right, sure. Right. I mean,
you're here for this.
I love
You're
Bayley,
here for this,
right? I love Bayley. Okay. I love Alexa Bliss. I love like women that can actually go.
Yeah.
Where it's still out, whether or not Ronda can, but
we'll see.
She could definitely be there.
All right. I was just wondering. You're rooting for it. I know that for sure, 100%. And so am I.
Right. She's looking a little better. Time will come. Time will tell, I should say. The fans, the other real quick point I wanted to make, the fans, they were rough on her that first week and second week. Remember, and they killed her, actually.
Yeah, I remember. Better.
So much better. Oh my gosh, she's getting, like, at first I was like, okay, they're cheering her, but the second time I was like, okay, it's a little stronger.
Also,
this past Monday, it was extremely strong, and I was like,
good.
Good for her.
That's
she
awesome.
hasn't even done anything. I actually saw, I saw 2 people in the crowd that already had her shirt, and I was like, 1, she has a shirt. What? 2, she hasn't done anything.
That's awesome.
And one was a kid, one was an older person. I was like, they already bought her WWE shirts. Good for her.
My thought...
That means people are invested. Good for her.
My thought is the more that they support her that way, the better she will get as well. That can only help.
I would hope.
Well,
and that is the most wrestling we will ever talk about on JD Sports. But it was a good conversation.
That was great. I thought this was one of the better shows we've done. The Wheelhouse, we've been very good show-wise for a very long time, but sometimes...
Forever. We've been good forever. I mean, we've been good since day one. I don't even know.
But this is one of those, I feel like, golden ones. I'm excited to catch it.
It's been great. So what we got? What we have to look forward to other than WrestleMania?
Next week, we're talking...
Mania recap.
The draft is coming around, so we'll probably talk a little bit of it.
I keep saying that, but it seems like every single week has been an NFL story.
Right, and it's been like enough that we could talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. As in Dwight, because Dwight doesn't want to talk about football, but he's found a reason to.
The NBA is winding down.
Yeah, playoffs are out here. Jesus.
The NHL is getting close. I'm sure I'll have some kind of conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the MLB will be a little further along. Masters, at least a small recap. I don't have to go in depth or anything, but...
Yeah. There will be some type of Triple G fight. We'll talk about him in some capacity. We don't know who the hell he's fighting. He might be fighting me. Triple G knocked me off of $5.
I think Trainer gets like 15%, so I got you, bro.
I'm so in.
I'll hold the pads up for you.
Knock my ass out.
No, you gotta punch him.
I don't want to punch anybody. I just want knocked out.
Oh, all right. I got you. So you're trying to play defense.
I want to hit anybody.
I got you. That's fine. I'll be the trainer.
Oh, I'm so in.
We're coming out to MJ though, right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Don't stop till you get enough.
I literally was thinking that in my head. Oh my gosh. Dwight, we have plenty to talk about coming up. Thank you for watching JD Sports. We in the house.
John Cena sucks.